Welcome to the Sacramento Real Estate Expo. Sacramento has a thriving real estate market, and better yet, Sacramento has thriving realtors, some of the best in the nation. We're glad you're here. Today, we will be joined by a dynamic group of experts who will share their knowledge, strategies, and passions in specific areas where they have blown the doors off the competition. So buckle up, Buttercup, because I'd like to introduce our tour guide for the morning, our host, Brent, Gove.
Okay, everybody, well, welcome. As you can see, this is a dynamite lineup, 12 speakers, 3 hours. Sit back. Hope you got your coffee. I hope you got a notepad. Take a ton of notes. You're about to have your mind blown. Now, here's the cool part. This is not only going to be seen here in Sacramento and Northern California, but it's going to be seen nationwide and throughout Canada, here in North America. Heck, some people may see this around the world. So this is a very exciting time. Our speakers all sell pretty much, most of them, 100 to 500 homes a year. And they're going to teach you how to help more buyers buy, more sellers sell, how to pick up those buyer leads and listing leads. It's going to be life-changing. You're going to get out of this what you put into it. So now is the time to step up, get that sip of coffee, focus, and I'm going to introduce to you our first speaker. He is famous. His name is Jay Kinder. He was at one time the #1 Coldwell Banker agent in the world from a place called Lawton, Oklahoma. Nobody thought anybody huge would come from Lawton, but Jay Kinder became the #1. Just shows you can be a star anywhere. You can bloom wherever you're planted. So Jay went on to form NAEA, National Association of Expert Advisors. He do events with thousands of people. He's going to share with you now. Jay, welcome to the show. Talk to us about strategy. Talk to us about changing lives. Welcome, Jay Kinder.
All right, thanks, Brent. So what I'm going to share with you is the one thing that if you get right will change everything in your business. And it did that for me, and I've seen it did that for many other agents. And that's understanding strategy. So if you ever felt like you do a whole lot of work, but you're not really sure if you're getting the right things done, or you feel like you're stuck where you're at and you're doing a lot of things, or maybe you're doing a lot of things that aren't working and you're not getting any further along, you're still stuck the same number of transactions. It's most of the time, this problem can be solved. It's called bad decision making, by the way, is by making the right decisions, doing the right things in the right order. And so what all strategy is taking into consideration all of your resources, all of your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, and understanding all of those, choosing a priority to accomplish with a very clear and concise deadline and description so that you know what success is, right? So when it comes down to being strategic, it's simply going to be understanding what the goal is, defining that goal, and then relentlessly pursuing that goal with confidence because you know it's the right thing. Let me give you an example. I was on the phone yesterday with a real estate agent, and it was a coaching call. She's not a client, but she needed some help, and she's a doer. Man, she's a doer. So she's been doing. She's in her second year in the business. She did 16 transactions so far this year. Not this year, but in the last 12 months. And her biggest problem was she doesn't have a filter for how she makes decisions. So she's doing something that's working, and it's not the right thing. First, you have to define where it is that you want to be in the next 5 years. Where do you want to be? If you don't define that, 5 years is going to pass by in a heartbeat. You can ask anybody on this call. If you don't define where you want to be in the next 5 years, you'll just end up somewhere, and it won't be where you want to be. And when I say that, I want you to think about the next 5 years. Like, what do you want your day to look like? What do you want your life to look like? What do you want your business to look like? What do you want? How much money do you have in the bank? Are you to a point where you can step out of the business at some point? Are you saving a certain amount of money? Where are you financially in the next 5 years? And then what do we do in the next 90 days to get there? That's the strategy. And so unfortunately for her, she was feeling stuck. She's working busy. She's busy. She's working 10, 15 hour days, really working with all the clients and doing all these things. And I said, and we're in DFW and she's in DFW. And the biggest challenge with this marketplace, which many of you may have a big marketplace like this, is, you could get a lead and end up in Fort Worth, and that's 2 hours, or you could end up, in Rockwall, or you could end up in so many different places if you don't have the right strategy. If you haven't got clear on where it is that you want to operate your business and what it is that you want to do to make sure you're doing business in that area, right? And so you get a referral from somebody. You sell a house in Fort Worth because you didn't have anything better to do. And then what do? You get a referral from that person and then where they live in Fort Worth. So now you're going to Fort Worth again. And so if you want to be successful in real estate, you have to learn a couple things. One of them is leverage. You have to have leverage. You have to get things off of your plate and stop doing $10 an hour work. And then you have to be very strategic about what are the things that you're going to do. So let me give you an example. With her situation, she was doing what was it? Buyer seminars, first time home buyer seminars. And she said, yeah, it's working really great. We have 50 something people on. She's a doer. She executed on what she's decided to do. The challenge is with all the things that you could choose to do, maybe that wasn't the right thing to choose to do. So after asking her a few questions, understanding what her business is and where she's trying to go with it, we discovered that was just the wrong strategy. It was the wrong thing to do. Now, when she heard the idea at the first time of doing this buyer seminar and then unpacked how she was going to do it, and then she executed it flawlessly, got all these leads, guess what? These buyer leads, a lot of them have bad credit. They're not able to buy right now. They're, for whatever reasons. And so is it working? Yes. She executed flawlessly on an idea. And so with knowing that she's that kind of person that can define something and go execute it, I know that she's a winner, right? But the problem was that, this was not in the direction she wants to go. She wants to work. She's bought Zillow leads, and let's see, where's she buying Zillow leads? Oh, in Richardson. I said, is that the area that you want to grow your business? And she's like, no, not at all. That's just the only thing that was available. I said, it sounds to me like, where do you want to be in the next 5 years? What are we going to do the next 90 days to get there? So she tells me where she wants to be in the next 5 years. And she tells me what area that is, and that's where she wants to be her business. She wants to have a team and have some people around her and have some time off. I said, well, then we got to stop driving to Fort Worth. We got to stop buying leads in markets that we don't serve, and we got to stop doing first-time home buyer seminars. So we're out there chasing buyers that have bad credit, right? And so we get all these ideas and all these things that come at you, but if you don't define first what is the goal and what is the best way to accomplish that goal. I'm going to say that again. What is the goal? And you think you know what the goal is, and they say, is that really the goal? Or is there a better goal to have, right? Get clear on the goal. And I'll give you an example. Jay Abraham used to ask me this question. The guy charges $50,000 a day. So it's a good question, right? And when you ask it, it makes you really think about it. So what's the goal? And we're like, this is the goal. And then he says, is that really the goal? And we're like, shit, is that really the goal? Yeah, that's the goal. No, actually the goal is a revenue target that we were trying to hit. And we defined down to this one thing that we think we should do is what we're going to do. So really the revenue target is the goal. And he said, okay, well, what are all the ways to solve that problem? There's all these ways to solve that problem, right? So, we defined, I can't remember what it was at the time. I did the same thing in my real estate business, and we had 2 agents that left the company. My team set up a recruiting meeting. They wanted me to help them with the goal and defining all the tasks for recruiting to replace these 2 agents that left the team. I did what Jay Abraham did because he must be a good question. He asked me all the time. So I said, what's the goal? They said, well, it's defined, as we are successful if, which that's how you define a goal. We are successful if, and then it has to be smart, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant to the long-term vision, and time bound. Smart, that's specific, and has a deadline, right? So that's why we say in the next 90 days. So what are we gonna do in the next 90 days to get there? It's defined by, we're gonna hit that target somewhere during this quarter, this next 3 months. And so we need to recruit 2 agents that produce X number of deals, by such and such date. Said, okay, is that really the goal? And they looked at me, with the same face that I looked at Jay Abraham when he asked me. He said, well, actually, the revenue that we're trying to replace is X amount of dollars. I think it was around $12,000 or $15,000 a month, something like that. I said, well, what are all the ways to solve that problem? Well, we have a vendor program that we could have ramped up and get more vendor income from our lenders and our title company and this and that and the other. We have certain lead generation things we could do. But we also had at the time 75 listings that hadn't sold. So I said, we got 75 listings that haven't sold. What if we decided to put all of our energy on getting our listings sold strategically? Would that be put a better systems in place, making sure we're getting the price right, get these properties, start getting these properties sold? We did that, and it was a difference maker you wouldn't believe. The amount of revenue that we generated by focusing on the right thing, that was the right thing in the right order. So that was where we focused our energy. We ended up being more profitable because 100% of the listing revenue dropped to the bottom line. 2 buyers agents on 50-50 splits. It's not the same. It's not the same revenue. So there was more revenue by focusing on that target. Do that first, then do this, right? So it's doing the right things in the right order. But if you don't have a process for how you make these decisions, if you just say, that sounds pretty good, I'll buy it, right? Like we get a commission check and we're like, what's the first thing I can try? Spend it on. We do a direct mail campaign, but we only mail one time. Well, how many times does somebody need to see you before they're actually going to respond to an ad? It's 21 times. Did you mail somebody 21 times or did you just mail them one time? So if you don't have a clear definition of what the goal is and you don't understand what the expectations are to get to that goal, then you're probably going to do a whole lot of things that don't work and you're going to feel like you're failing and you're going to feel like you're stuck. In reality, what you really need is just a better process for how you make decisions. So here's what you do. So every 90 days, you're gonna evaluate what you said you were gonna do the last 90 days. It's gonna start with lessons learned. Well, you start with the wins, okay? You wanna celebrate your victories. What did we get done the last 90 days? Hey, we did this, we did this, we did this. Give yourself a pat on the back. Then you're gonna go through lessons learned. You're gonna say, well, I said I wanted to do this, and I defined this priority is, get a system in place to generate 2 closed buyer deals per month, or 2 marketing system in place that generates at least 4 listings a month, consistently, right? Like if you don't have that in your business, then that is a target you could define. Now, there's a whole lot of ways to accomplish that goal. So we can define a lot of different things that we're going to test and try in order to get there. But that is the thing that if you solve is going to give you the greatest lift in your business, potentially, right? So you're going to going through your lessons learned. What you're going to do when you go through lessons learned, you're going to be like, I had too many damn priorities. I had 8 priorities and I only got 2 of them done, right? You'll start to learn why you're not getting to the goal, why you're not getting things done. And so lessons learned, and then you're going to do a SWOT analysis. Okay. This is your strengths. What are you good at? What are you really doing well? What are your weaknesses? Okay. If you suck at technology and you pick a priority that means you're going to have to implement technology, just know that you're going to have to remove that weakness, or you're going to have someone that can help you with that, or you're probably not going to get it done, right? So if your priority includes doing something that you're not very good at, just know that you're going to have to either learn to get better at it, which I don't necessarily recommend. I would say focus on your strengths. But look at your weaknesses. What are the things that we're not good at? Just have an awareness of these things need to be improved. We can't do this very well. What are your opportunities? This is all the things you could do. This is your list of all those ideas that you have, all the things people are telling you to do. And then what are your the threats? What's the 2x4 that if you get hit in the face with that you didn't see coming? Things in the industry. COVID-19 was a threat. We didn't know about it. I mean, couldn't have imagined it, but that was definitely a 2x4 to the head. So what are all the threats? And where are you at financially? Understanding, are you at core capital? Do you have at least 60 days worth of operating capital in the bank? If you don't, that's your number 1 priority. Always. If you don't have 60 days at least, 60 days worth of operating capital, what you pay yourself, what you pay everybody that's on your team or whatever, if you have a team or whatever, if you don't have 60 days worth of operating capital, your number 1 priority is to have 60 days worth of operating capital. Otherwise, you're living on fumes, man. Like you're going to make decisions based on cash flow. So you got to have that money in the bank. And so you do the SWOT analysis, and then you define what the number 1 priority is, and you focus on that one thing. Don't let somebody has a good idea. Is it going to help me to accomplish this priority that I just wrote down and define? If it doesn't, put it on the shelf. Put it on the shelf. Maybe we'll come back to it once we get these priorities done. Next 90 days, we'll revisit. We'll look at all the opportunities. If we decide that's the number 1 collectively, then that's what we'll do. Right? So that is in essence, in a very short version of just making better decisions. If you make consistently good decisions, your business will exponentially grow. It'll compound upon itself. It'll grow, it'll double, and then you'll double again, and then you'll double again. And so I've seen this happen to so many people that get it right. Once they understand the framework, and here's where you get it from, okay? So Mastering the Rockefeller Habits. Book changed my life. It changed my business. It's a great book by Vern Harnish. So go get the book and learn how to be strategic. Do the right things in the right order. You'll get to your goals much faster. You'll have more clarity and confidence that what you're doing is the right thing because you went through a process to get there, and you'll have more success in your real estate business. So I hope this was valuable. I hope this gave you just a way to think about how you're making choices in your decisions. Be strategic and stealth and get the right things done. So thanks again for having me, guys. And Brent, as always, I love you, brother. I appreciate you. And you guys have a great day, and I appreciate you tuning in.
Jay, that was amazing. Thank you, Jay Kinder. Everybody's mind was blown. My mind was blown. Solid information. You guys take this, take advantage of it. So I'm going to shift to our next speaker. Help me welcome Mr. Sean Work. Sean was voted by the Wall Street Journal top 100 agent in all of North America by the Wall Street Journal. He's a marketing phenom. He's brilliant. So he's going to talk to you about marketing. Here we go. Take it away, Sean.
Good morning, everybody. 9:15 Real Estate Expo. Really excited to be with you. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sean Work, Realtor, Broker, Associate for EXP. Been identified as one of Wall Street Journal's top 100 agents, business coach, running a large organization of people of almost 100. So I'm really excited to talk to you today about maximizing your prospecting time and marketing and building ultimately a marketing and prospecting company. Okay, so we're going to move right along, move quick. We're building in real estate two different companies. Your company A is your lead generation, your marketing, your persuasion and skills company. Just as important as the message that you're sending out are your skills in order to be able to sell. We're nurturing our follow-up, our appointment setting. We're defining our lead levers, our sources of business, and also doing research and development. The company B is actually our real estate company. So we're servicing clients, we're writing contracts, we're negotiating, we're doing repair requests, we're managing the client, and ultimately disclosures. The problem that I see with most agents is they focus so much time in company B versus company A. The conversation today is this: why should I focus on building this company A? And here's the statistics. We're defining the problem here. There's 1.3 million realtors in North America. Only 43,000 of them are doing more than 25 units a year. That's only 3.3%. Almost 96% of agents doing less than 25 more sales, or 25 or more sales a year. There's only a 13% success rate in our industry. 85% of agents have zero previous sales or persuasion skills. 80% try to use only one closing line at the appointment. 48% of agents only do one open house per month. This is pre-COVID. And 96% of all SmartUp or brokerages will fail within the first 10 years from Inc. magazine. So here's the bottom line. Agents who do more than 5 hours of prospecting, agents who have outbound lines that they're fishing with make $200,000 or more a year on average. When we're converting, you look at your system, 3 touches versus 5 touches equals 40% more conversion, and only 24% of sellers use their selling agent to list, meaning 76% of agents failed to convert on their previous client because they don't have a marketing system set up, a campaign set up, constant content going out on their Facebook pages. And so that moves us into this. When we're talking about lead generation, advertising, and promotion, these are the norms. And I would ask you to, if you have a piece of paper there, write which 3 you do on a routine basis. When I say routine, I mean every day. Are you in your database? Are you tracking these leads, these connections, the contacts that are coming in? You see, and we'll talk about it in a minute, it all starts with the amount of touches that are going out from your business every day. So when I come to work today, June 4th, how many empiric touches went out the previous days, and how many are going out today? Meaning social media posts, phone calls, postcards, all of those types of advertising or lead generating activities. So advertising, your lead generation, advertising, and promotion company looks like the buyer's packets and your logos and your promotional events and the gifts and the Popeyes that you're doing and the mixers and the campaigns that you have and your community involvement and social media and training and growth events that you put on in your testimonials. Those all are supporting your lead generation company. However, once those are done, then it's time to jump in, right? And now we have to use those materials that we've created to begin our sales and prospecting service. Here's the bottom line though. Don't let not having the perfect buyer packet or the perfect card or the right thing to say prohibit you on a daily basis if you're not prepared yet to fish. When I say fish, these are what I'm talking about. Do you have an expired program, a FSBO program, a geographic farm, a demographic farm, an electronic farm? Are you reaching out to your allied resources and affiliates and open houses and video interviews and sign calls and postcards and all of these things that you guys can take a snapshot of? What are the 3 pillars of your business that are bringing in so many contacts through the touches that are going out that you're getting leads, nurtures, and appointments? You see, it all starts with the touches. I've got touches. Touches lead to contacts. Contacts lead to leads. Leads lead to nurtures. Nurtures lead to appointments. Appointments lead to contracts. Contracts lead to closings. Closings lead to money or revenue coming in for your business. Okay? So I want you to think right now, what are my 3 pillars for the rest of 2020? Okay. We're starting the month of June. Here's questions for you to consider this month. Number 1, which company have you been building? Company A, marketing, prospecting, persuasion, sales skills, or company B? And if you go to company B and you're more concerned about how to write a contract, how to go through disclosures versus building your company A, you're in the wrong. And I'm not saying that company B isn't important, because it certainly is. But company A will start your pipeline. And if you don't have a pipeline right now, it's time to go in and find a lead tracker. What is your daily goal? And it needs to center around numbers. My daily goal is I connect with 5 new people every day. I follow 5 people, 1 social media post, 1 thank you card, 1 addition to the database, 1 appointment set for next week. That has to be the daily goal. No compromise. What does your current pipeline look like? Grade it from 1 to 10. How many hours of the past month were spent working on company A? And how many hours have you prospected? This is time to use some to reveal where have you been these past months while in COVID. How's the pipeline look? The pipeline, the answer to that is going to be found within these questions. How many face-to-face appointments with database or referral partners have I had? How many touches are going out that yield to contacts, that lead to nurtures? How many buyer and listing appointments have I had? And ultimately, how many contracts did I write or listings have I taken? So here's the question to consider for the second part of 2020. Based on your goals for 18 and 19 and now the second part of 2020, how are you going to finish this year? Is it going to be strong? Are you going to stand up and say, I'm the CEO of these 2 companies and I really need to grow company A before company B can take off. I need to grow my marketing, prospecting, persuasion, skills company before I really can launch or grow or double my business in 2020 and 2021. You're the CEO of the company. Would you hire yourself again for back in 2020 based on what you did in 19 and 18? And if not, it's time to reevaluate that and say, okay, here's what this looks like. We talked about this before. This is the illustration. The sales skills of building your company and being persuasive ultimately leads to appointments. Once they cross over, once you've had that appointment and they stand up and they say, I'm ready to buy or sell, you've moved them into company B. Until that happens, you need to make sure you've got those campaigns going. The marketing is on point. The logo design is good. The written connection contacts is on point and is delivering your message. Now we move them into company B. I'm not going to focus on this, but this is listing, buyer, closings, revenue, and profit. Okay. So moving on, company A is going to get you to your goal. Company A is going to give you a pipeline that throws up on you and enough connections and contacts to sustain your your company B. If we focus on company B, which is where a lot of agents come in, and if you could relate this to owning a restaurant, like a seafood restaurant, many of the companies focus on what does my menu look like, and what is my staff going to be, or what am I having for a special, and who am I going to hire as the cook. In reality, the real question should be, where am I fishing for the seafood, and do I have enough seafood that I can launch a restaurant? It's the same analogy. Okay. So the bottom line is, if we're not making these daily contacts in an organized fashion, in a routine fashion, and tracking those numbers, it's simple. The numbers say it. In our industry, you will fail if you're not making daily connections, if you don't know who you're calling. My suggestion is, once you identify your 3 pillars of who you're going to connect with on a routine basis, and theme out those days. So Monday could be expireds, and Tuesday FISBOs, Wednesday referral partners, Thursday buyers, Friday corporations, whatever days you want to theme out, get a binder for each one of those days and say, here's my expired binder, here's who I'm going to call, here are the new ones entering every day, here are the scripts. That way every day, literally, you can go to the shelf, pull it off, and say, okay, here today we're calling corporations. I know the 50 corporations that I want to do business with. Here's who the connections are. Here's what I'm going to say. Here's what I have to offer them. Here's how I'm bringing value. Ultimately, 5 elements of your company A succeeding is mindset, understanding. After mindset is knowledge, understanding what needs to be done, overcoming the fear through scripting and organization, and then habits. Connecting every day with your accountability coach or yourself, saying, okay, did we ultimately hit our goals for today? And so quickly, and you guys are going to get these slides because I've got only a certain amount of window of time with you today. You got to focus on becoming a professional salesperson. I've got some information here that I'm going to share with you after this slide. And when you're prospecting, you have the power. You're in control of your business. So it's time to take action. It's time to get those systems in place, get the marketing information in place, and then launch it to the world. Don't struggle with self-talk. It doesn't have to be perfect to send it out. Operate within your comfort level, but get out of your own head, and keep in mind, if you're comfortable, you're not growing. And you can do these daily affirmations before you're going out there and prospect. But I want you to decide today that it's a new start for your business, and understand that you are required to be successful. And in order to meet that requirement for yourself as a CEO, you must have a robust level of clients, because that's ultimately the key to success. Here's some solutions. These are different mindsets for amateur salespeople. Here's 15 of them. Take a screen capture. We'll have this available to you. But basically, if I look at an amateur salesperson, they're rolling the dice every day. They don't know what they're saying. They don't know how to connect. They're not understanding the disc profile. There's no discipline. There's no process, no system there. And when I look at the mindset of a professional salesperson, they're willing to do the heavy lifting that's required to have success, to be a professional. They're seeking new business all the time. They're taking massive action. They're tracking their numbers. All right, so take a screen capture of this. We don't have a lot of time here. So habits, solution. If we're a professional, we're not rolling the dice every day. We're committed to a program, a 5-5-1-1-1-1, new nurture, new contacts, new nurture, social media, a greeting card, an addition to the database, an appointment set for the next week. If it's not on my schedule, it doesn't exist. We have theme prospecting days. We're using a lead tracker that gives 7 immediate touches. Here would be my suggestion: email, phone, text, Facebook, LinkedIn, greeting card sent. Those would be a few. Daily routine role play objections. And the opportunity here is your peers have a level of inconsistent prospecting. 3, get organized. If you have no organization, it's going to equal drama in your day. Understand 97% of agents don't have a database or CRM that they're using. Know with those binders every day, know who you're going to call, what you're going to say, when you're going to call, and why you're going to call to bring value. Daily goal equals no compromise. You're minimizing distractions. Everything's in your calendar. We understand our 3 pillars of concentration every day, and those 3 pillars are going to yield constant connections and growth through relationships. We're going to set up our environment, and we're going to have control of our business because we're the ones that are bringing in the fish instead of waiting for the fish to jump on our boat. Ultimately, overcoming fear. We got to get uncomfortable ASAP. We got to fail fast, fail faster than our competition, fail 100 times faster. Understand that rejection happens, failure happens. It's part of life. It's part of our business. We're uncomfortable because we fail and we grow. But understand, your body, your mind is telling you, if we get rejected, we're going to feel bad. We're going to perform bad. There's not going to be any money. We can't eat. We're going to die. Understand that and overcome it from a mental perspective. Understand that you need to get excited about overcoming objections because it means you're mastering the skills. Understand your tonality and your dialect and your expressions and your psychology and your energy. Questions and solution are the key to setting appointments. And agreement and transition phases, understand these as part of your sales and persuasion company. Okay? So here's the bottom line. If you can handle or know what to say, you'll call or visit anyone. That's just you can. But if you know how to handle the objections, you will want to call. You'll want to visit. You'll have that energy. You'll convey your desire to be hired by your client. Okay, almost done here. Solution 5 is knowledge versus information. Okay, information is what I learned in a textbook. Knowledge is putting it in practice. Understand your scripts, your appointment setting, your phone, your role play, your objections, your in-person scripts. What are you listening to, reading, coaching, who you're coaching with, who are you coaching? Understand information versus knowledge. Understand analysis for contribution and longevity in the industry. Understand what the market is doing. Be a student of the market. Understand rates and new listings and days on market and reductions and pending sales and expireds and withdrawals. Ultimately, as we wrap up here, crushing your company will be the rest of 2020, not 2019. Get into massive action. Get the face-to-face appointments. Get the business-to-business appointments. Get your nurtures in place. Understand where your database is. Commit to the 5-5-1-1-1-1. Have theme days. Join 2 networking groups. Add to your database every day, including the have-not met. Who are you wanting to target for the rest of 2020 or 2021? Establish a start time and end time to every day. Establish a list of 30 influencers, 30 whales that you want to go out and prospect and meet, 30 people who could change the dynamic of your business. And ultimately, understand you must implement a business-to-business referral program. I don't want you to be a statistic. I want you to be one of the 3.5% of agents doing more than 25 deals a year. To do that, you need to have at least 3 pillars going right now. 6, 9, 12. I probably have 15 different pillars out in the world of bringing business in. Understand that is your business. Anybody, after they've been in this industry for a long time, knows how to write a contract. Anybody knows how to go through disclosure. So that's not the key to success in this industry. The key to success is focusing on building a platform that will generate many, many, many connections, contacts, relationships on a routine basis. Love you guys. Thanks for listening today, and I hope this helps.
Okay, my mind's blown. Was that not incredible? Sean, you're brilliant. We are impressed. I'm so excited to share that information with others. So thank you for being on today. I know everybody loved it. Thank you, Sean. Well, I'm going to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Michael Reese. I met Michael about 15 years ago at the JW Marriott Desert Ridge in Scottsdale, Arizona. We were all hanging at the pool after a big real estate conference. And I knew Mike was a special guy. I knew he was going to kill it. He was brand new to real estate. Well, he went on to break every record at his franchise and market center, Keller Williams at the time. He went on to form NAEA with Jay Kender and come out with impact thousands of agents' lives. He's a powerful speaker. He's an absolute genius, and he's going to talk to you about content marketing. There is nobody better. Be prepared to have your mind blown. Here we go. Take it away, Michael Reese.
Thanks everybody for being here today. Brent, thank you so much for asking me to be a part of this amazing online virtual event here. My goal is to bring value to everybody. And anyway, I just think this is such an awesome thing for you to put this together and create value here for the real estate community. So with that being said, let me just jump right in because I don't have a whole lot of time. My goal is to be able to condense a 1-hour presentation into about 20 minutes. And today's presentation is going to be how to leverage social media with a marketing funnel. Okay. And what I'm going to do is, in order to be successful online, I'm going to take you through kind of that framework. What I've learned, for those of you who don't know anything about me, I've sold around $50 million in products and services online. I was top 30 in real estate, co-founder of the National Association of Expert Advisors, trained some of the top agents and teams. And, I've had my hand in a lot of different online platforms and helping them be successful. The one I'm working on right now is an online platform called Attract ROI. And that's what I'm using in order to really help agents predictably generate clients, specifically from paid traffic. And the reason why paid traffic is important is because it allows you to get scalability. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Think about trading a nickel, a dime, a quarter for a dollar. Now, before we get started, this is part of an hour training. And so if you want to see the entire training, we're going to go through one particular offer. And if you want to see the entire training, you can go to doubleyourbusinesslive.com. I will put the entire training on a video for anybody to go there and watch on demand. And it will give you basically what I'm going to walk you through today. Consider it one of 3 really compelling offers that I'm seeing work really well online, specifically when you're leveraging social media. So you're going to learn the simple formula to turn strangers into clients online. And so go over there and check that out. Now let's talk about a leverage point. A leverage point in your business is, the way that I look at it is, what's something that you can focus on that if you get it done makes other things easier. And usually by getting a disproportionate return on effort. Meaning if I put a little effort into changing let's say we have a website and it's converting at a certain percentage, let's say 5%. If I have an ad that's driving traffic to that website, if that ad is not optimized, then it doesn't matter about the landing page, because the ad is going to be a bigger leverage point, right? Because the cost of the traffic the cost to get a click to that website could be significantly 2, 3, 5, 10x more. And that could be based upon the headline, the image, and really it could also be based around the platform. Google and Facebook have 2 different cash conversion cycles. One of the things that I found is when you advertise on Facebook, for us, after looking at data over a year, took on average of 161 days to set the appointment on average. And on Google was 4.5 days. So those are leverage points, identifying those. And that's what, when you think of your customer acquisition as a funnel, you start to identify those. Now, there is a formula that we use. We'll call it the secret formula. It's not a secret anymore because I'm going to share it with you, but it's principally driven. You want to understand who your target market is. You want to be able to identify the traffic in which how you're going to get them. So, where are you going to find them? Let's say you're going to go after probates. You could get a list of probates. If you're trying to if you're trying to go after motivated home sellers. So if your target market was motivated home sellers, you could go after people whose homes are in probate. That's one target market. And the traffic you might use is by getting a list of their contact information and targeting them using, custom audiences online, things to that nature. But most importantly, you're going to have a good offer. And what I usually say is just think about this is, the better you are at identifying your target market, the better you're going to be at crafting a message that's going to be compelling. When I work on anything, I always say the number one thing you want to work on is the offer. Because no matter what you do, if you do everything right and the offer doesn't convert, it's unfortunate you might not be able to do it again. It might be unprofitable. And so the offer, working backwards from the offer, really make sure that you're targeting your traffic right. You're using the right headline, the right images. You're going after the right target audience. And then more importantly, we got to focus on conversion. And so how are we going to convert those clients? Right now, the last stat I saw is people sometimes need, and this is a stat that a mentor of mine shared, which was 22 different interactions before they purchase something. I'm in the market right now to buy stuff for my home gym. And I can tell you, I've been on the site today. I was on it yesterday. Unfortunately, I didn't buy because home gym equipment is hard to get right now. But the point is I'm out there doing my research. And, that's what consumers do is they're comparison shoppers a lot of the times. And so when you're building a marketing funnel, you want to be able to know how you're going to turn those people into a customer. So let's walk through this for a second. First of all, I want to let everybody know you can do this. You're only one successful funnel away from being able to scale your real estate business predictably and profitably. And so most people, this is where they shut down. They say they can't. Guys, I'm going to offer to help you guys take the number one funnel that I'm using right now. I'm going to tell you why it's working, how we're doing it. I'll give you a step-by-step course you can go through. And if anybody wants help setting it up, I'm more than willing to do that as well. And in fact, I'm willing to do that and make it as easy for you as possible, right? And so just if this is something you've been wanting to do and you know that you should be getting clients from social media, really pay attention here. So here's if we were going after a first-time home buyer. Okay, we'd have to identify that person. Then we'd have to decide, are we going to use Facebook or Google? Those are and the truth is there is a formula of using both of those that actually works better when you're using retargeting. You're going to have an offer, right? So you could use grants, down payment assistance, things to that nature. Then you're going to have a funnel. So really a landing page. When you spend money online to get somebody into your funnel, you want to make sure that you're focusing that conversion to really making a compelling offer where someone can make a decision and move forward. And so taking people to the old website that we used to do, 10 years ago is not really the best strategy, especially if you're doing the math and understanding the economics behind the investment that it takes to acquire a customer online. And so everybody, one thing I want to give away as a gift, I always do this anytime I speak, whether it's virtually or on stage, I always offer a gift. I do have a vendor program. A lot of the times I run into people that say they can't afford online marketing, and I beg to differ. My first year in real estate, I had a vendor program, and I think you should. A vendor program is an offer, and it's an offer to get other people who are aligned and have the same interests as you, who are trying to acquire the same customer. It's an opportunity to partner with those people. And so I have a vendor guide that I'd be more than delighted to give everybody a copy of. In fact, it's on Facebook in a Facebook group. You can go to joingetmoneynow.com, join the Facebook group. It's pinned up to the top. And this is what we call host-beneficiary relationships. One of the things that we teach is in this vendor guide, you'll learn the audience siphon, which is how to leverage your vendors in order to get transactions. And Trisha Turner, a partner of ours, we've helped actually leverage self-liquidating some of her expenses by being able to partner with her vendors. And so if you haven't zero costed your marketing, I would really want you to consider, again, leverage points. That's a leverage point in your business. And this guide it's lengthy. It is step by step. If you want a copy, head on over to that Facebook group and download a copy of it. It's real easy for you guys to get to. Just go to joingetmoneynow.com and you can get a copy for that. All right. So let's talk about the new construction funnel. Okay. Why the new construction funnel? First of all, the new construction funnel, you can really target move-up buyers, which are people in your area that might potentially have a home to sell before they buy. And one of the benefits is, in my market, what I found is you have another party that's incentivized to help you with the follow-up, incentivized to help you, convert that client into a customer. You're usually, if you've worked with any experienced salespeople, builders usually put their salespeople through some pretty advanced training. And so I've always liked working with on-site home builders because I feel like when I hand them over to them, they're there to assist me in helping the client get what they want, but also getting the client to the goal, which is actually purchasing a home. Generally, they're better qualified opportunities, and the clients are a little bit more emotionally tied to the process because they're building their own home, right? And the objections from traditional buyers are really removed when they can say, well, we don't like the garage over here, or we don't like this paint color, we don't like the floor plan, we don't like the lot. When you work with new construction, you're able to handle that objection up front. And the cash conversion cycle is shorter. The time in which you invest $1 right now today is very fast. In fact, those dollars are traffic for this vertical or this niche or this target audience is really cheap right now. And we'll talk about that. And then the search terms for new construction are specific usually to neighborhoods. And so if you go into your market right now and type in new construction, there's usually a lot of search volume, but it's targeted to neighborhoods, and it's usually builders trying to sell their inventory. So anytime you're successful online, it's having a differentiated value proposition, and you're able to do that really well with this. So the new construction funnel, there's really a couple phases. We broke it down into 3 phases. We have the strategy phase, which I'm going to talk to you really in depth about now. We have the implementation phase of the funnel. The strategy is kind of giving you guys the why and how it works. The implementation is getting it up. So, a good thing about a funnel is once they're built, they run, they work every day, 7 days a week. And then the last is optimizing the funnel. And you can do a lot of things right now with Facebook Lives and stuff like that I teach, where you can get free traffic and really, you can imagine, home buyers out there, potential home buyers watching videos. What type of videos would they be that would be able for you to create a compelling offer to get those people into your funnel? So let's talk about this. Why the new construction funnel? Well, first, let's go back to the differentiated search. If you go online in my market, there's 35 million results for homes for sale in Frisco. And if you look, there's about 8.6 million results for new homes for sale in Frisco. I know that seems small, but a lot of people, if you look at homes for sale in Frisco, usually you're going to have a crowded market, which would be considered kind of a red ocean strategy. If you look over here under this search, you're really competing with the builders, and because they're really focused again on neighborhoods and their product, you can just create a more compelling offer. Right now the offer that I'm seeing work really well, nobody's making, and so since so many people are saying, hey, check out my neighborhood, my area, my new home, Dries Homes, Beezer Homes, KB Homes, right? You can go in and make a really compelling offer to see all new construction. I'm going to show you how that works. New construction offer, you have 2. You have a primary and a secondary. The primary is based upon selection, and our secondary offer is affordability. I'll talk to you why these are important. With a primary offer, you basically are going to give access to all the new construction properties in the area. And again, this is going to work best with cold traffic, and it's going to be what's the best for lead generation because it's the most universal offer. Affordability, which is a secondary offer, is what we're doing is we're giving people access to a one-page document with all the builder incentives. So we basically take the time to go out there and find out what all those builder incentives are. We put them into a one-page document, and that becomes a secondary offer, which again is going to help us when we go into the math on how this works. And that's used for warm retargeting. And so I'll walk you through what that means, but it's going to really help you get throughput or conversion with this strategy. So here's how it works. You have a lead ad. That's what we run. If you don't know what a lead ad is, we'll walk you through what that is in the training. And basically what it is at a very high level is it's a form it's built inside of Facebook. And so what happens is you don't need an actual landing page or a website. And the main thing is that the client doesn't have to put their information in because it auto-populates based upon their user profile. And what we do is we have an IDX site, and then we have a pipeline, and then we have a contacting campaign, then we have retargeting. That's kind of, how the funnel looks. That's that's a high level overview, right? Is we have an IDX site, which is aligned with the offer. And then I'll walk you through what that is, which is getting access to all the new home construction deals. And let's say in this one, which is Steve Whitlock in Silicon Valley's funnel that I'm showing you here. And he basically drives those people to an IDX site, which is his KV core site, which we'll teach you how to make a custom landing page with that site, where it will only display the new construction homes in your market. We put those people into a pipeline. We then manage them through those stages of the process by using different campaigns and then retargeting, really to optimize that conversion. So here's what the funnel really looks like. This one, again, is Stephen Whitlock. And as you can see here, it's pretty self-explanatory. You see the home, you see the image, you have learn more. As somebody clicks on it, you're getting a little timing and motivation. As they click on the timing, if they're wanting to do something now, it's automatically pulling in the information of the contact user, displaying the private policy. And then instantly, when they click Go View Homes, it's going to automatically take them to Steve Whitlock's landing page there in Silicon Valley of all of his new construction funnels, which is basically his IDX site. And it's a customized link that's taking them to the new construction side of that site, okay? And so what we do is, if you take that as the primary offer, the secondary offer is a messenger ad. So when somebody does any of that, what you got to understand is that the minute they click on that form, if they do not proceed, you are now creating a custom audience inside of Facebook, and we can retarget those people. And so we do that with messenger ads. And so we'll hit them straight up in Messenger. And again, they'll be in our pipeline. We'll create a little contacting campaign here. One of the things that we use in our Attract ROI is we're able to send voice messages. And there's two reasons. The main reason is they get used to your voice. So as they start to hear your voice in their voicemail, it's just, they start to get used to it. So when you ever do get in contact with them, that there is an element to feeling like they know you. They've seen videos, they've heard your voice on their voicemail, things to that nature. But another thing is the platforms believe that if anybody's using the voice message capability of Messenger, then usually you don't send voice messages to people you don't know. So we're betting that if you send somebody a voice message, then all of the other content you post is going to probably be presented to them in the news feed. It's a wild guess, I know, but we have seen that we are able to get and grow our audiences by using the different abilities to connect with people through social media. And we believe it is one of the algorithms' way of saying, okay, well, if this individual has sent messages back and forth with this person on Messenger, they must know each other. And so since they know each other, when they post about their birthday, let's go ahead and display that ad. And our goal, again, is to get the attention of that target market. And then we retarget them. We go over that in the more advanced training. If you want access to that, I can give it to everybody. But we can retarget them. We can go after specific properties. We can, again, update with incentives, information about specific builder community, stuff like that, usually with live videos that are scheduled to sequentially be delivered to that person in their newsfeed based upon their interaction with your funnel, right? And so this is what that ad would look like right here. This is an actual messenger ad. And again, this is in their news feed, offering them this incentive. And it's, if you look in the call to action, it's saying, hey, listen, just send me a message on Messenger and I'll send this right over, right? So I believe that this is
buying a new construction property in Frisco right now. This piece of paper can help you save up to $20,000. I'm Woods Davis with
So that gives you a little insight, and then you can see how that message would go out. Would they want the list? If they said yes. Again, all of this can be built into your Messenger advertisement. If you're not using Messenger, I have a step-by-step process on how to implement this. In fact, I can implement it for you. Again, when one of the things people always ask me is, can you help me with this? If you're interested, we can help you get this implemented. You can try it out. There's no cost for you to get help implementing this. If it's something you want to do, I'm here to add value. Again, I am able to help you. This is something that does work. There are one thing that I think people need to understand is this is all about ROI, right? I think I tend to work better with people that do the math. So I'm going to walk you through the math on what I'm seeing working, but this is for somebody who's, again, this is paid traffic. This is somebody who says, listen, I would love to spend $168.52 to get a customer. Can I get 16 of those? That's the mindset of the individuals I feel like I can help. You can't have a funnel with no traffic. That's what I'm trying to say. And I feel like I need to make sure that I really make sure that everybody understands that you could have all of this done, but if you can't get it in front of people, it won't work. Okay, so let's do the math for a second here. So in this ROI calculator, you can see over here, and you want to create your assumptions and establish your testing budget. This is what we do with anybody, anytime. For us, we created a lead generation ROI calculator. You can go get it at attractroi.com/calculator. And basically, it allows you to take your monthly budget, break it down into a daily budget. It's going to make an assumption around the cost per lead. And then it's going to give you an assumption around the conversion rate and what your average commission is, how many leads you think you're going to get, what you think that value per lead is going to be worth, and how many transactions you're going to get, right? And so you just want to walk through those assumptions and get what you think your ROI is going to be, and how many leads you think you're going to need to have to generate in order to close a transaction. When I wrote the book Inside Sales Predictability, I learned 1 in 34 conversations led to a nurture, and then 1 in 12 nurtures, which was 8%, turned into a transaction, which is what gave me the ability to predictably get clients online through listings, or get listings online through a demand generation strategy. And it's because I did the math. So you always want to do the math. You want to know your CAC and your ROI. So this is an example of an actual cost per lead. What we're seeing right now, a cost per result is $2.84. Pretty amazing. I believe this is Stevens. I'm not exactly sure, but if you can think about this gentleman spent $273.10. For me, if I spent $273.10 to get a customer, that is a good investment. So this was a result of 96 leads on Facebook in this campaign. So $273 invested at a cost per result of $2.84. Pretty impressive, right? And this is what you want to understand. This was a daily budget of $10, right? $10 daily budget. And 96, that's a cost per lead of under $3. And finally, a 2% conversion rate. That to me, when I'm looking at a business, I'm looking at it like a business. I'm looking for something that, like in this scenario, how can I scale? How do I nail a marketing funnel and scale it so that I can predictably hit my sales goals? A lot of people say they want to sell, 100 homes. Well, how many are going to come from sellers? How many from buyers? How many from your past clients? How are you going to get your past clients to engage with you? What are you going to do in order to get those referrals? In order to create a personal economic model and create an actual path to get to your goals, you want to start doing the math. And so this was an example of a case study where if I was working with somebody and they wanted to get to their goals, this would be maybe a way to insert, I'm just hypothetical here. I would go over their budget and say, well, here's a way that we could add 14 more transactions this year. Let's put this funnel in place. In fact, if we run it on Google or Instagram and get more traffic, maybe we can actually get 21 deals this year from this funnel. So that's the way you want to think about it, right? There's two types of traffic. Traffic you own, which is your database. You can do videos for your subscribers and followers. And then there's traffic you control, which are basically through lead ads, messenger ads, and stuff like that. So anyway, guys, here's what I wanted to make sure everybody knew. I wanted to keep this short. Hopefully this was helpful for everybody. If you want to get access to the implementation or you want to see the entire training, all you have to do is I can give you our implementation guide, how we implemented this. So you can download this guide, give you a step-by-step checklist to build your funnel, and literally the copy and paste elements to build this out. Or I can have one of my gentlemen get on and actually help you build this out and get this up and running. If you want to do that, just head on over to newconstructionfunnel.com. Thank you, Brent, for asking me to be here. I didn't want to come and just tell you a bunch of theory. We call it, teach you the door and then you got to go find a hinge. I wanted to be able to actually teach you a strategy and give you the ability to actually execute this. This is something we could have up and running for you next week. If you're in the position where you're trying to predictably turn strangers into clients, and you'd be willing to work with someone who's looking for new construction in your market. And here's another thing I just want to point out again. A lot of these new construction buyers are sellers. They're local area movers. And we have found that to be true. We've actually been getting listings from this strategy. So if you want to take advantage of that, go to newconstructionfunnel.com. Brent, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And James, I know you did a lot of work to put this together as well. Thank you so much for all you do. And thanks so much. Y'all make it a great day. If there's anything you need, you can message me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Michael I is for Isaac. Michael I Reese. Thanks, everybody.
Michael Reese, what do you say? Brilliant, strategic, solid. Thank you, Michael. Great job. I'm so glad you made the time to do this. Okay, next speaker. We're moving hot and fast. Mr. Bill Price. I met Bill about 3 years ago in, I believe, outside of Orlando. I think it was Fort Lauderdale. I was at a beautiful Italian steakhouse, seafood on the ocean. Bill came in that place. It was kind of like a Beverly Hills, West Palm Beach, very high-end area. And he just walked in like he owned the place, like John Wayne. I will honestly never forget it. He's gone on to shatter records, set sales records, do incredible build. I think this company will do, I would say, about $3 billion in sales. So you might want to listen very close. Help me welcome Mr. Bill Price. Take it away, Bill.
Hey guys, Bill Price here in sunny North Carolina, enjoying the day. I was so excited when I got the call from Brent asking me to be on the show today. What a great program. We have a huge, incredible panel. So listen, we're going to go back to basics today, because when the market crashed back in 2008, my sales dropped all the way to $7 million a year. I wasn't happy. I did not like it. So I just went back to basics. Well, we all are roots when we started, okay? And then it's $20 million a year in closed volume ever since. So listen, join me on the journey today. We're going to come and get started and go back to basics. Today, we're going to go back and look at all the fundamentals that realtors should be implementing into their business to be successful. Let's take a quote from Tony Robbins. Most people fail in life. Why? Because they major minor things. Guys, it's time to get serious. I look at realtors all the time like, really, dude? Life is not a dress rehearsal. Make it count. I don't want to hear the excuses anymore. Go after it. Get it. Let's be aggressive, okay? So listen, here are 6 simple practices that I use to succeed in my real estate business. 1, I visualize stuff. 2, I write down my goals. 3, I have a roadmap to get to where I need to go. My mindset has to be positive, going in the right direction at all times. What's my war chest look like? And education. So let's first start off with visualization. I write down my business plan every January 1. Guys, actually look forward to it, okay? And after I write it down, I post it somewhere where I can see it, okay? Some people put it in their office, their car, their fridge. I post it in my bathroom on the mirror. Why do I do that? Because I know twice a day I'm going to be at least brushing my teeth and I can see my goals. My brain is visualizing what I need to do to fulfill my dreams. Okay, so I write down all my goals. I put them on the mirror. My wife laughs at me. A year later, they all come true. The next year, January 1, I write down my goals, put it back up on the mirror. A few days later, I know she's got a few things scribbled on there. Says in-ground pool, beach house in Florida, new car, and I kind of laughed at her. Sure enough, a year later, all those things came true. So now she named it the Magic Mirror. So every January 1, I know at the end of the night, I'm going to look at that list I posted. She's going to add a few of her own. The importance of visualization. Okay, step 2, clear and concise goals, guys. You have to divide your plan into categories to reach those goals. First thing, simple. We all want to know how much money we're going to make. So if your goal in this example is going to make $100,000 in commission in a year, then you have to realize you probably have to sell about $4 million to get there, okay? Now, how are you going to get there? You're going to sell to buyers and sellers. Well, how many are you going to have? So let's look at this example. Let's say I have 3 listings. I have 7 buyers. That's 10 deals. That means they're going to average about $400,000 a piece. That'll be $4 million total in sales I have to do, okay? 0.25%, let's be conservative. There's my $100,000. This is simple. There's no magic bullet, but we need to write it down to see it, to make it go forward and come true for us. Okay, step 3, roadmap here.
Where's this business coming from, right? Is it your sphere of influence, your sponsorship, your farming? Do you go after open houses, expires, withdrawals? Whatever it is, you have to put it down and map out what you're going to implement into your business to make this come true. Okay, let's talk about mindset. Step 4. Some people believe that good things just come to those who wait. Not me. No way. You have to go out there and get it. I'm not waiting for anyone. So you have that mindset that you keep just moving forward. So what's your street value personality? Guys, we're in sales. You better have a dynamic personality. Anyone that meets Brent Gove is just fired up after they see that person, right? Well, if you got Dwight's personality from The Office, you might want to rethink getting into any kind of sales. So you just be dynamic, okay? People want to know they're sitting in front of a leader. So when you meet a client, you better develop a connection. Right when I walk in the door, I'm asking that client a bunch of questions. The last listing I went in, I said, where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to high school? Where'd you go to college? He said, Notre Dame. I said, my uncle, Bill Leahy, teaches at Notre Dame. He's been teaching there for like 58 years. He taught Montana, Theismann, everyone. He's like, Professor Leahy, you kidding me? I had him in class in economics. Boom, there's a connection. I knew I was getting that listing, and I just developed a friend, right? So show up like no one else. Be confident, high energy. Important, guys. Ready? Next step here with mindset. Control the narrative, okay? There's so many sellers out there and buyers that are watching HGTV and they're watching, they're on Zillow. They think, they're the expert. Make sure that they know you are the professional in the room, and you can do this by controlling the narrative by implementing the 70-20-10 rule. What's the 70-20-10 rule? 70% of the time, you're just going to be asking them questions and listening. They will tell you everything you want to know moving forward, if it's with a seller or buyer. 20% of the time, you're going to talk about their house they want or they want to sell. And then the last 10% of the time, you're going to tell them how great you are, how great the company you work for is, and you'll win their business. Okay, step 5, what's your war chest? How much money are you budgeting to get to your goals? So many realtors fail because they do not write down their annual budget. Guys, if you want to make $100,000 a year, say you made $100,000 in commission, you better put 20% of that aside. $20,000, you put it toward whatever you want. Here's an example: a $10,000 annual budget. Mix it up: flyers, print ads, Facebook, Google ads, whatever it is, whatever fits your personality. Write it down and have a path to success. Okay. Next slide is telling me we're stepping on to step 6, your education. Things you didn't learn in real estate school. This is so true, guys. It's like 3% of what you learned in real estate school, you're going to use in real estate. We have to get our feet on the ground, get our boots muddy, right? Get out there and learn. How do we do this, okay? Continuous education, okay? Find a mentor, hire a coach. Some of the most successful people I know in the business have coaches, are coaches. Brent Gove has a coach, So just think about that. The top agents in the country have coaches. Why don't you? And something that Brent always preaches: the more you pay, the more you're going to pay attention. So don't be worried about, paying too much for a coach. It'll pay off. Now, what's really important, guys, with educating yourself, you have to be the market expert. Okay, like I said earlier, buyers and sellers are more educated now than they ever were before. And something, you have to do daily updates to stay on top of the business. And I'll tell you why daily updates are so important. I got a call years ago on a Wednesday. Someone wanted me to come out Saturday and tell them what their house is worth. So Thursday, I worked diligently. I put together one of the best comparative market analysis I've ever done. I'm so psyched. I closed the book Thursday night. Saturday morning, I drive over to their house and I tell them what their house is worth. And they look at me puzzled. And they're like, Bill, the same house up the block closed yesterday for $15,000 more than you're telling us our house is worth. Guys, I didn't stay on top of it. Just 24 hours one day. So I should have done another search on Matrix to find out if there anything happened in 24 hours. You have to be the market expert, because what do we hear all the time? The Zillow estimate, right? I don't know about you guys. I'm like, one more time. Just say it one more time. I don't want to hear
I am the expert and you're going to listen to me. And they want to hear that from you. They want to hear that confidence. They want to know that you're the educated person in the room and you're the one with all the knowledge and you're educating them and you're pointing them in the right direction to get their house sold. Okay, we just completed our 6 steps to succeed. Now it's time for call to action. What are you going to do with all this knowledge and your war chest and your mindset? Are you going to put into farming or open houses, sponsorship? What are you going to do to make it work? Well, let's look at this next slide. We all know the deadliest catch. What do? They throw out crab nets. They throw out about 12, right? And they start pulling in the nets, so they're all empty. And they're all, disappointed. Then halfway through, they pull out a few more nets. There's a few more crabs. But at the end of the show, they're pulling up 3 or 4 crab nets that are just full of crabs, right? Well, guys, guess what? We have to do the same thing in real estate. We have to throw out an open house crab net, a farming crab net, a sponsored crab net, cross promotion crab net, a networking crab net in a community. And guess what? At the end of the quarter, at the end of the year, we're going to find out that only 2 or 3 of these crab nets work. But we have to be willing to do that. We have to be willing to try more than one source of marketing to get your business going. And guys, I want you to remember too that all marketing works. Don't be afraid to be a risk taker. It's okay to stand out. Voila! There's our buddy Richard Simmons. Anyone over 40 right now watching this is chuckling because they remember him. Who's Richard Simmons? Richard Simmons decided to go after a market no one wanted. He was basically developed a workout program for like senior citizens. And he dressed, in like rhinestone pink and purple tank tops, right? I mean, he really stood out. But what? In a crowded marketplace, right? Fitting in is just a failure. You have to stand out. And when I got into business, I bought a Hummer. I wrapped it head to toe, put my face on it, put my website, Priceless Experience. People were drawing mustaches and beards all over the side of my Hummer and my face. I laughed it off. I didn't care. My sales went through the roof. I didn't care about standing out. I wasn't going to be invisible to succeed. Here's a few other examples. We have Mary, the realtor over here. She's got a listing across the street from a neighbor, from a cemetery, and she puts on her sign, quiet neighbors across the street, right? She's just tongue-in-cheek, being funny. We have Nicole over here on the bottom of her sign. It says $250 on free tacos with the purchase of this home. She's standing out. Buyers and sellers will be walking by. Other neighbors will see that, and they'll remember her because she was kind of funny. She wasn't afraid to take a shot. Okay, let's finish up here, guys. How do I keep selling at a high volume? What's my secret sauce? If I just had to pick a few things, it's farming and sponsorship. And what are the key points to farming, guys? So strategically, search for the right area. Pick a price point that you're going to be comfortable in. Okay, let me just go back. There we go. I would pick a community with a little lower price point. Don't pick $1 million community. Pick something, $300 to $600 grand. Pick a community where there's going to be, 30 plus homes a year sold in there. I had an agent one time pick a community with 5 homes a year. I was like, why are you even farming that community? And please do not pick a community, say that Brent Gove sells a lot of real estate in. Say Brent sells out in Palisades Park, Grove out in California, and there's 60 homes a year that sell there, and he sells 30. Stay away from that community. Get on Matrix, get on MLS, do your homework, pick a community that you think will work for you and is not dominated by a top agent. Okay, let's move on to sponsorship. Of course, guys, sponsorship is really goodwill for the community, right? So wherever you decide to farm, whatever community you're going to farm, you have to sponsor as much as you can in that community. Reach out to them, show them that you care. It could be, bringing 10 pizzas to a swim meet and show up halfway through the swim meet and give free pizza to anyone who wants it. And when you hand out the paper plate, staple your business card to it. The parents are going to appreciate it. They're hot, sweaty, and tired. Give them bottles of water with your name on it, whatever it takes. One thing that I've done that has really helped my business, I'm the guy at Halloween that has a crazy, scary cemetery. It takes me a week to set it up. Channel 6 News comes in and tape records it. I have parents I hire to help me. We chase around kids with fake chainsaws and stuff, fog machines, scary music, you name it, we got it going. But what do? The big candy bars, and I take the business card and I tape it to the back of it. So I might hand out 500 candy bars, but it's 500 business cards that a lot of parents are going to see, And guess what? Parents love it. They love it. Parents will come by and they just want to jump in my yard and scare other people. It's a lot of fun. Okay, let's talk lastly here about the follow-up. Not following up with your prospects or your clients is the same as filling up your bathtub without first putting in the stopper in the drain. You just, wasted all that time and effort with your clients. You're not following up. Follow-up is so key, guys. You've got to make sure you contact your agents. So at the end of the day, ask yourself, what client did I not think about today that needs just a simple touch from me? It could be an email, a text message, something on Facebook. And guys, please check your email constantly, okay? It should definitely be going to your phone if it's not. And at least check it in the morning and at night. See what clients are reaching out for you for help, okay? And you have to keep communicating with your buyers and sellers. Once a week, even if you have nothing to say, no news, just call and say, hey man, I'm just calling to reach out. How's everything doing? I got no news. I'm just calling to say hi. They need to know that you care about them and you're working for them. And listen, guys, I know we all work so hard. Everyone on this call probably thinks they work the hardest. We're realtors. That's what we think. We work hard, okay? Get over it. No more excuses. Just get to work. Look at poor Mary here. Who said real estate professionals were was stressful? I'm 48 years old. I feel great. How many times do we feel like this? We feel beat up. We feel 20 years older than we are. It doesn't matter, guys. That's real estate. But real estate, on the flip side, gets us such an opportunity to spend quality time with our family, to work from home, and make really good money. So listen, I had a great time today. I just lastly want to thank Brent Gove for putting on such an amazing event. I look forward to seeing you all in August in Texas and hanging out with Tony Robbins. Thank you all.
Bill, thank you. Loved it. You just never disappoint. You are a rock star of rock star of rock stars. So thank you so much, Bill. Our next speaker today is Gogo. I met Gogo years ago. She is a social media marketing phenom. She has taken the country by storm. She has over 50,000 followers. And I've asked her to kind of gear this to agents who sell, anywhere from 20 to 40 homes a year and give you relevant information that you can do right now to start building your social media campaigns so people call you and want to list their home with you because you're the expert. So help me welcome all the way from, I think, Chicago or Detroit. I forget where Gogo's from, but Gogo, welcome, and let them have it. Give them social media marketing. Can't wait to hear what you got to say.
Hey guys, my name is Gogo Bethke. I am so excited to be here today. Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored. I run business on social media under the name of Gogo's Real Estate, and I have been ever since I got licensed in 2011. I was named the #1 social media queen, or the #1 agent, I guess, who runs business on social media here in the state of Michigan. That's where I do most of my business. But I'm also named the social media queen. So a little bit about me. I got licensed in 2011. We were broke. I had no sphere of influence, as you can hear it from my accent. I am not originally from the United States. I was born and raised in Transylvania, Romania. So when I moved here, I really had no sphere of influence. I had no cousins that are going to buy houses from me. I had no best friend. I had no college friends. I had no kids that I grew up on the same street with. I really had no sphere of influence. And now I got myself suddenly to be working sales. I also know the stats. 80% of the realtors will give up in the first 2 years. So I was not about to become a statistic. So I figured, what else can I do? Because I am not willing to door knock. I am not willing to cold call. I have an accent. It's against my religion. Many things that I wasn't willing to know, nor did I had money. I don't want to buy leads, and I didn't have money to throw at billboards or buy Zillow leads or do all those things. So I had to figure it out, and I did it with the power of social media. So we are here today to kind of give you a few tips that you can go home right now, or if you're sitting at home and watching this, if you're home right now, you can actually implement it and get it done and double down in your business and become that brand, that local expert that everybody knows about. I can go to the store now without people knowing that's that Gogo chick that sells real estate. And that is my goal for you, is to be able to help you to lead generate with your own brand. Build that brand where the people, the buyers and the sellers come to you and they ask you, hey, oops, we're having a baby, we're gonna need to sell. So really, I don't even have a listing presentation because I don't have to have one. I have my services sold to them, that potential buyer and seller, before I ever step a foot in on the door. If you wanna look me up and how I do business, you can find me under Gogo's Real Estate. But I prepared some tips for today that you can get done from home, and I kind of have a cheat sheet So if you see me looking at there, I'm just kind of making sure that I cover everything. So the first one and the most important, when you decide to do social media marketing, we have to understand that you are your brand, okay? There's 2 million realtors out there that your potential buyer and seller could choose to work with. Why on earth should they choose to work with you? So you want to make what I call your social storefront as pretty as possible. You must edit your photos. You must make it personal. Don't use third-party companies that post on your behalf. Give them a reason to follow you. Don't make everything 100% real estate related. Throw some personality in there. Throw some quotes in there. Throw your hustle, your ethic, what you stand for in there. Show them who you are. Give them a reason to follow you. People in average are in the market for every 7 to 10 years for 6 months. After that, they don't care about the real estate market unless the market tanks, and then suddenly they want to know how much their home is worth or how much equity they lost. But other than that, everybody's just kind of happy and going around, going about their life. But you want to stay in front of them. You want them to follow you. So if and when they're finally ready to pull the trigger again, they will choose to work with you. So get in the habit, or get okay, I guess, with the idea of shameless self-promotion, because that is what we do on social media. It's okay to give a pat on the back to yourself and let the world know what you achieved today. What house did you sell? How was the marketing plan on that? You know, how many agents joined your team? What is going on in your real estate team or brokerage on your individual agent? What is going on in your life, in your real estate life? And you want to be able to be okay with what's called again, what is it called? Shameless self-promotion. Okay, that is your marketing platform. Social media, think of it this way. You make that post, it's gonna take you 5 to 10 minutes. Maybe 100 people see it, maybe 100,000 people see it. But now that social media post, and it took you 5 minutes to post, it's working for you from now until forever, until somebody else is going to see that post. So that post is working for you. That's an investment into your business. And you can do that with how many dollars? $0. I also do Facebook and Instagram marketing and Google marketing and all that. But my goal is to teach you the very basics at first of why and what you need to do in order to grow that brand and do it organically without money, with just your own time and thumbs making the post. Virtual open house. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. Virtual open houses are the next thing. And I just saw one somebody did, and it was such a genius idea that I loved it. So because of COVID, now we are kind of limited of open houses, but we can do virtual open houses. So go out to your listing. Get a friend to go with you, your husband, your wife, your child, if he's old enough to hold the camera. Do that virtual open house, talk about the property, and as you're going through the virtual open house, make sure to give away some things. So before you do the virtual open house, talk to some local restaurants. Right now, like at least in the state of Michigan, we cannot go and sit in a restaurant just yet, but we can certainly do pickups. Maybe you go to Starbucks and you give away $5 Starbucks gift card. You say, okay, everybody who stays down, or you ask a question, whoever answered it in the comments is going to get a $5 gift card. Or you say, you know, the person every 2 minutes in the video, I'm going to draw a different name from the people who are watching it, and then you just kind of go through who's watching it live, and then you're going to draw a name and give them a $5 gift card. You want them to spend time on your profile, because the Instagram and the Facebook algorithm, they don't care anymore how many followers you have. They care about the interaction. The algorithm cares about how much time of the day do they give you. Do they skip through your videos, or they actually watch it full time? Do they take the time to like? Do they take the time to comment? Do they take the time to DM you? So you want eyeballs on your profile, and you want to keep them on there as long as you can. And video will allow you to do that. Also, get comfortable in being in front of the camera. I made mistakes. How many mistakes did I make since I was talking here? Many. Okay, I have an accent. English is my third language. I am not perfect by any means, but that's okay. Nobody is. Not unless you're Jesus or Buddha. So just get comfortable in front of the camera, and guess who's selling the house? You are. So should you be in the video? Yes, you should, because that's proof to the future Mr. and Mrs. Seller that you actually know what you're talking about, that you actually know what you're talking about because it's coming out in your mouth, and you just sold them you without actually selling them you. They already know they want to work with you because you convinced them by selling another house of how amazing you were at it. So you can do that with the virtual showings as well. Your bio on social media. Make sure your bio on social media answers these 4 basic questions. Who you are, which is your name. Your name is your brand. If you are Gogo's Real Estate on Instagram, you own gogosrealestate.com. You have a Gogo's Real Estate email address. You have Gogo's Real Estate on your yard signs. You are Gogo's Real Estate everywhere. Make sense? So now, of course, you could be Kevin Smith. You could be Jessica Angel. Whatever your name is, whatever your brand is, you want to own that on Instagram, own that on Facebook, own that on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, you're going to have your personal name because you can't have a website, but you want to own the .com. You want to have that everywhere. Okay, so that is your name. Figure out what your name is and you're going to have that everywhere. The next one is what you do. Hashtag realtor. People can actually follow a hashtag on social media and you want to be able to pop up every time somebody follows the hashtag realtor. You want your post to pop up so they can see who you are and get familiar with you and follow you. Where? Michigan. In my case, if you go to my profile, you'll see my name. You see that I'm a realtor with a hashtag in front of it. I'm in the state of Michigan with the hashtag in front of it. I say conducting business in Michigan. The reason why is because I go on so many profiles. Let's say I'm a buyer. Let's say I'm moving from Seattle to Michigan and I'm looking for a Michigan realtor. How on earth am I going to find you if your profile doesn't say you're conducting business in Michigan? That's why you do it. You want the world to know who you are, what you do, where you do it, and how can I get a hold of you. Now, think of it this way. The millennials have a what is it called? Attention span of a goldfish, about 3 seconds. So if you don't give them instant information, instant gratification for what they need, they're not going to choose to work with you. They're going to over to the next person whose information is on there, who they can access with a click of a button. So your contact button has to be filled out. That should be your phone number that you always answer whenever it goes to voicemail, and that should be your email address. That is a quick access to you so you can respond right away. Again, who you are, what you do, where you do it, and how can I get a hold of you. So make sure your profile answers these 4 questions. Now, let's hop over very quick to your business page. When I'm talking about doing business, I'm talking about doing business on business pages. Your business you take seriously. If you want people to take your business seriously, you're going to take your business seriously, and you're not going to run business on a personal Facebook profile. You're going to do it on a business page. So on Instagram, your Instagram and Facebook, as long as they're business pages, you can do multiple things with it. You'll have an algorithm in the background that's going to show you your insights. So you're going to see how old are your followers, where they are located, what time of the day they log in. Why do you want to know that? Is because when you decide that you want to throw $5 at it and actually spend money, you want the best return on your investment. And the only way you can know that, if you can do that, if you know who your target audience is. So I want you to turn both of your Facebook and Instagram pages into business profiles. If you don't have a business profile, create one, and then you link them together. And then suddenly you just killed 2 birds with 1 stone. I always post on Instagram, automatically feeds over to Facebook. So the stories that I post on Instagram, they show up in my business page on Facebook. The things I post on my wall on Instagram show on my Facebook wall. And I just killed 2 birds with 1 stone. Okay, so on Facebook page, I want you to do 2 things very quick. I want actionable items today, so just please make sure you're taking notes. On Facebook, I want you to go to the service tab and fill out what you do, where you do it. Who's paying for your services? You can say if you're a buyer, the seller is going to pay for my commission. I can't wait to work with you. Okay, so just fill out what you cover, what area, what your specialty is. The next one, did you know that you can link your Facebook or your calendar, your Facebook calendar to your actual calendar? So you go to Facebook, you create your calendar. I have listing appointment and buy-side appointment one-on-one. They can literally plug themselves into my calendar. The cool part is that calendar actually links with my Google Calendar. So if I'm busy on Tuesday at 11 o'clock, guess what? It's not going to give them the time. It's going to give them 12 or it's going to give them 10. But it links with it, and now I just remove that back and forth of like, oh, are you available Tuesday at 2? No, I can't. I'm sorry, I have a live. How about Wednesday at noon? Oh, no, we can't. Our dog has a vet appointment. Okay, how about Thursday? Can you guys do Thursday evening? Oh, no, the kids have soccer. So instead of doing that back and forth, now they have direct access to your calendar. It syncs to your current calendar, so you're not going to have to go back and forth. You never double book yourself. And then voila. Problem solved. So make sure you fill out the services tab on your Facebook page, and you also link your calendar to your Facebook calendar. If you don't know how to do that, Google it. There's this thing called Google, and you go in there and you type in, how do I fill in my services tab on my Facebook business page? And pop up, you're going to have like 10 different steps of how to do it. Done. Do that. Strongly recommend for you to have, this is a tip number, I don't know how many, at 5th, let's say. buyer's and seller's guide. If you don't have a buyer's seller's guide, you're kind of wasting your time. So what we do is, actually, this is my husband's baby, so I'm stealing this idea from him. I must give him credit. So he is the best guru, the _best_ guru. He's my husband, and he's also a full-time realtor. And he does this, and I think it's such a great idea, as having a buyer's and seller's guide updated quarterly by Keeping Current Matters. So go to Keeping Current Matters, get a membership there. I don't know how much, I want to say it's $25 a month, but don't quote me on it. And getting that membership, they update it, and it's just a ton of information. It's also, you can download it as a PDF. You can customize it, so you can add your brand to it and all that. So make sure that that is always quarterly updated, and you're ready to rock and roll when a buyer or seller reaches out to you. Like yesterday, we got a buyer off of one of our listings, and right away, my husband sent them the buyer. The buyer's and seller's guide. Well, this was a buyer, so we send them the buyer's guide, and we also send them the vendor list. Now, what we do, our preferred vendor list, it's like an ongoing Google document that our friends who own businesses or people that we work with, vendors and lenders and title companies and painters and mowers and trash companies, and you name it, anybody that we worked with during our 10 years of career, it's on that vendor list. Not only that they're on there, we like supporting the ones that support us. They also choose us to be the realtor in return. But we also like to support the ones that support us, and some of them even give discounts to our clients. So now when somebody reaches out to us, we explain them the process. The buyer's guide will explain them the process, what it takes to become a buyer, which one of the steps is getting pre-approved. If you haven't talked to a lender yet, please do so. Please feel free to see the attached vendors list that has multiple choices for you. We have worked with all of these lenders in the past. We love all of them, but it is absolutely your choice who to decide to work with. Please see the list attached, and let's get you pre-approved. So, do you have a buyer's and seller's guide? If not, check out Keeping Current Matters. I don't work with them. I don't get a cut of this whatsoever. I'm just trying to help you to make sure that you have everything that we do, because it works amazing. Link your business accounts together. We talked about that. So when you create a business page and a Facebook business page and Instagram, you're going to link them together. The next big advice, are you ready? This is one of my favorite, and so many of you don't use it, abuse this. If you don't exist on Google, if you don't show up on the first page of Google soon to the millennial, who are the biggest pool of buyers and sellers here soon, you're not going to exist to them. So I want you to have a Google presence. The easiest and fastest way to do that is to have a Google My Business. So go on there and Google, how do I create a Google My Business account? Okay, going to give you a step-by-step guide. Why do you need a Google My Business? Because you want reviews and feedback on Google. You also want a Google address, so when people are meeting with you, you're going to be able to just say, hey, just put in Gogo's Real Estate in Google and I'll see you at the office. Now, if you're an EXP agent, which I am as well, you might run into like, ooh, I don't want people know where I live. So there's a few ways you can do that. You can still enter your physical address, but hide it from the public. Or you can enter, like in my case, I talked to my local lenders and I worked with for years, and I asked her, hey, would it be okay if I put your address onto my Google My Business? Because hey, I work out of there multiple days a week anyway. My team and I, her office is open to us anytime. And then I also ask when somebody ships or mails me something to put attention Gogo. This way they don't open it, and they let me know, and when I'm there next time I pick it up. So that's what I do. But if you don't have connections like that, if you don't have a lender or a title company or a friend who owns an office downtown somewhere, then you want to hide. Make sure you hide your address from the general population. After you created your business, what happens is, believe it or not, Google is going to send you a snail mail. Yes, I said snail mail. An actual postcard that's going to go to that address. So make sure that whatever address you choose, it, by the way, cannot be a P.O. box. Make sure the address you choose, you're going to be able to access that postcard, because it's going to have a 6-digit code on there that you're going to have to go back to Google My Business and approve that account. So you're going to need that code on there. Now, as soon as you created that and it's approved, then you have access to your Google My Business. The first thing you want to do is print at least your last year's closings and go back to your past clients and ask them very nicely if it would pretty please take the time to leave your review. The more reviews you have and the better the reviews are, the higher and faster you're going to show up on the first page of Google. Go get it done. Love it. Next, Zillow. Did you know that on Zillow, if you are on the buy side of a transaction, you can actually claim that transaction to show up in your volume, I guess. So even though I don't buy leads from Zillow, I'm not a preferred agent or whatever those are even called. I never paid for that. I never bought a lead. But I do use Zillow because guess what? Zillow generates a lot of traffic to their site where buyers and sellers go on there and they search for realtors. Well, I want to show up. The more reviews I have on there, the more transactions I show up with they're on the site, the better by chances are that they're going to choose to work with me. So what you need to do is go on Zillow, create a professional account, not a personal account, a realtor account. You log in there and you can go through all of your past transactions because it's actually tied to your ID and you can claim it. Now, many of the realtors on the listing side, they're smart enough to claim the buy side as well before you claim it. So now it shows them twice. Their volume just looks bigger. So you want to go in there and reclaim it and show it. Nope, actually, I worked that buy side. I brought the buyer. The credit is mine. And you want to claim those buy side transactions. You want to use those reviews and feedbacks for your future. So what I do, or what we do, I should say, when we close, I have an automated text message that goes out after closing. I just save them in my notes. And it says something along the lines, when I'm at the closing, I try to go to almost every single closing. When I'm at the closing, I just say, of course, something, but this comes from the heart. I'm not kidding and I'm not lying. Something along the lines of like, hey, I love working with you. Thank you so much for choosing us at Gogo's Real Estate. I hope you had a 5-star experience working with us because we sure did. If you would pretty please, after closing, I'm going to send you a couple links. I'm going to send you a text message with a couple links in it. If you would please take 5 minutes of your time, just type up one review, copy and paste it. But I do need you to go to all 3 of those sites because those sites don't allow us to copy and paste your review. It has to come straight from the source. I would so appreciate it because our business is word to mouth. It is from friends to friends, and I need your reviews if you would please take the time. And by far, 95% of the time, our clients will take the time and do it. So I'm proud to say that we are 5-star everywhere, on Google, on Zillow, on Realtor. Actually on Facebook I'm 4.9 because somebody I never worked with left me a 2-star review, but I left it on there. You can find these reviews, but I left it on there and I called that person out and I just, hey, listen, I never worked with you, you never worked with me, I never even met you, I don't know who you are. So I'm sorry that you felt the need to leave a review on my page, and it happened to be somebody who knows somebody, because I can see it on their friends list, that happens to be a realtor. So I guess they had a little animosity and they asked the friends to leave a bad review, and the friend did. Okay, well, I left it on there because it's really not a true review and they can see it. I never worked with that person. I never sold them or had them buy a house. So that's it. So make sure you have your reviews. When it comes to your newest listings, the things that work, and I'm going to go through them very quick because I only have a minute and a half. Change photos. So instead of waiting until your professional photos are out and you're posting the link to the professional photos and your listing, take those photos and post at least 10 of them, just the photos and the nice description, and say coming soon. Maybe ask the price or guess the price or things like that, or just share a little bit about it, but don't share your link. Just do a coming soon first. Chain photos work really well. People really truly enjoy going through them. So what I mean by chain photos is just take those photos and post 10 of them with a description, not an actual link from your KB Core. The next one, I want you, after the listing goes active, to take your own link on KB Core and post it very quick. With that one, you're going to be able to capture all of the leads that are actually going to click it. The next one, Facebook groups. Make sure you belong to all of the Livingston County groups, the moms, the this, the that, the things for sale groups locally, because those work. So you want as much exposure for your listing as you possibly can. If you don't have time for it, hire a VA. I have a VA from the Philippines. They charge anywhere from $3 to $8 an hour in average, and they do an amazing job, and they can definitely help you with the tedious tasks that you need to do that are not the best way you can spend your time. And it does take time, but it will pay off. And the last one is video. We just went out to one of our listings because it's still COVID, so we can't do open houses, but my husband came out with me. We both went to the property, the sellers left the property, and we just did an awesome walkthrough, and we posted on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, you name it. You post it everywhere, let the world see it. Again, you want videos. With videos, you want a few things. You want those eyeballs on your account for as long as possible, and B, you want to be in it, so you become that local expert by talking, so the information is coming out on your mouth, you automatically become the expert. And I think that's, I could squeeze in here for 20 minutes, so thank you so much for having me today, and good luck. You are in amazing hands with a ton of amazing speakers, and you're going to learn so much today. So again, thank you so much for having me. My name is Gogo Bethke, and you can find me at Gogo's Real Estate. Happy selling. Bye, guys.
Gogo, you never disappoint. Loved it. On point. Entertaining. Wonderful. Thank you. It was super good. Okay, next speaker. Marguerite Crespillo. Now, Marguerite and I go back, I don't know, over a decade, maybe 15 years. We've been around each other in the industry here in Sacramento, probably 24 years to tell you the truth. But we became friends, I think, about 15 years ago. And she's a dear friend, and she owned a couple franchises, offices around town. She had, 120 agents. She's one of the most respected agents / brokers in Sacramento, California. She's a pillar in the real estate community. She sells real estate like it's nothing. She is so successful. She's going to talk to you about building clients for life. Here we go, Marguerite. Let them have it. Enjoy.
Hello, everybody, and thank you, Brent, so much for having me on the show today. I'm truly, truly blessed and honored to be here and be a part of this group today. What incredible talent we have. And to have the opportunity to be able to share our experience and knowledge and resources and collaborate with each other to bring you information that hopefully you can use right now in your business to improve what's going on around you. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about building clients for life and the value of what that looks like. So let me backdoor it a little bit and explain to you a little bit about the value of your database and of clients. There's a gal that I helped back in 1997 named Linda Buckmaster, and I was able to sell her a $50,000 HUD home. Now, by many standards, that's not much of a sale. The commissions weren't very high, but let me tell you what she has been worth to me on top of being an amazing person and friend. She has been able to refer me 8 people who referred me, people who referred to the tune of 8 levels deep, over 65 referrals and $300,000 in commissions. That is the true value of taking care of your clients, making sure that you're staying connected with them and staying in regular contact with them over the years, right? Now, I realize many of you are probably looking for some right now business, and I completely understand that. But what if you could take each one of those people that is part of your right now business, and if you could actually turn them into a client for life, who not only uses you over and over again, but refers you countless people. So let's talk about a few ways that you could possibly do that in this short time that we have together today. I will tell you that one of the most important things to remember is that not all leads or clients are at the same point. In other words, you may talk to somebody today who's ready to go. They're ready to write up an offer. Or you may talk to somebody who is 3 months, 6 months, a year, or even 2 years out. And if you truly take and build that relationship and build that connection with them, guess what? You're going to have new business coming into your funnel on a regular basis. Because while you're building your right now business, guess what? You're also having other people that are coming in at different timelines and that may be ready to buy or sell now. A perfect example is another client that called me recently who I had sold a home to 17 years ago. I sold him one home. I've never heard from him in 17 years. But recently his mother passed away. And sadly, it was time to help him sell his mom's house. So guess what? Because he got my newsletters and my information every single month, I kept in top of mind for him, and I was able to be the one that he called when the time came to utilize real estate services. So what are you doing on a regular basis, on a monthly basis to stay in contact? Well, I'll start by telling you some of the things that I've done over the years and continue to do. First of all, I send a simple letter of the heart every single month, and I've done it for over 20 years. And what that letter is about is a variety of topics and information in it. And truly, it's really not about real estate at all and hasn't been. Twice in 20 some odd years, I've written about real estate. Once when the market crashed like crazy and once when it came back. Other times I'm talking about a variety of different things. I talk about my kids who give me lots of great material. I talk about my animals. I talk about experiences I've had with remodeling or some of my favorite restaurants and other businesses that I connect with. But it's a very simple, short, and to the point letter, 1 page. I mail it and I snail mail it. Now you're asking, well, why do you do that? Well, I actually mail it because the importance of mailing it means that I get back anybody who's changed addresses. So I can make the decision whether I'm going to call them and follow up with them and find out why they opted not to use me. or whether I just want to remove them from my database. Maybe sadly they've passed away or they're no longer in the market. But it helps me on a regular basis clean up my database. Now, if you're asking which database I use, I hear this question all the time. And the most valuable database you can use is the one you'll actually use. So there's great resources out there. I personally use one called All Clients. There is Wise Agent and Top Producer and KV Core and lots of different opportunities and programs out there that you can use. But the most important aspect of all of it is that you actually use it, right? Go in and enter people's names, whatever information you have, a simple phone number, an email, anything. And then I also, every month, I may email my newsletter as well. And I email that so that, guess what? If the email address has gone bad or bounced or anything, it gives me a great excuse to be able to call them, right? All right, so let's talk about a couple other things. Keep in mind, as I mentioned, not all leads are at the same point. And timing and circumstances change everything. So the same person who said yesterday, I am never, ever, ever moving again, is the same one who just might have gotten a job relocation or is going through a divorce or is newly married or has had a death in the family or a new baby or anything like that that might make the circumstances of where they live change. You never know where life's going to take you and what's going to happen. So a few things that I do to continue to follow up is, as I mentioned, I send a letter of the heart. I send it out via email and snail mail. I've also had a ton of fun with videos, and I learned this little trick from my friend Mike Borkman, who does a ton of training. And he actually sends a little video in Facebook Messenger. He sends it on their birthday to say hi. And I got one last year, and I was so touched by it and thought it was so special that I've actually started implementing that in my own business. It's really, really cool. Now, another thing to keep in mind is how important the follow-up is, right? That fortune is right there in that follow-up. While maybe you've only called once or twice, the truth is, what are you doing to continue to call on a regular basis and follow up with them? I make it my personal goal to reach out to 20 people a day. Either I'm trying to talk to them on the phone, I'm text messaging, I'm emailing, I'm Facebook messaging them. I'm doing lots of different ways to reach out to 20 people a day. Now, for some of you, you might think that's not really realistic. And there was a time in my life when I just didn't have the time to do that. So guess what? I started having parties. I love to entertain. So I started having client events. I started years ago by doing things like summer carnivals when my kids were little. And lately we've been doing outdoor movie night or summer music fest. But I hold several client events a year, ranging from 5 or 10 people to hundreds of people. Now, if you're thinking, hey, Marguerite, I don't have the budget to do that. Well, guess what? I can tell you that I get all of my events covered completely financially by vendors and people that can help sponsor the event. Utilize the people that you use and support, that you support all the time. Utilize people like your lenders and your title and escrow people if that's an option, your home inspectors, your pool inspectors. Reach out to local people in your market. Recently, I was able to have a local restaurant help out with the food on one of my client events because I had over 200 people here. And they said, hey, we would love to help out with the food. It's a great way to get our name out in the community, right? So that's just one way you can. Now, again, if you don't have the budget, recently I talked to one of my friends, Ernestine, and Ernestine went through her box of gift cards. We all have those, right? Or hopefully you at least have a couple. Gift cards that you've been given for a variety of things. She happened to find a gift card from a lender she worked with to Ruth Chris. So she called 4 of her great clients and said, I would love to do happy hour with you, and it's on me. She was able to use that gift card from her lender. Now, if you don't have gift cards, you can reach out to people to help you pay for this. And she was able to bring 4 great people in front of her. Guess what? At the end of that happy hour, she got 4 referrals, one from each person, actually coming out to over $40,000 in commissions, all for a $200 gift card at Ruth Chris. So there's lots of things that you can do right now in the next 30 days to go out there and get right now business. But it starts with actually doing the work. You have to pick up the phone and call people and talk to them and get to know them. So the next question that historically comes from that is, well, what do I say when I call them? right? I don't know what to say. Here's how you start. Hello. Hello. How are you? How are things in your life? Like right now, more than ever, we need to reach out and connect and talk to people. Like listen to their voice, not just text them. Hear the tone of their voice. You now have the opportunity to do FaceTime with your phones, right? You can do Messenger FaceTime video. You can just call and talk to people. So please don't bury your head in the sand during these times. Pick up the phone and see how they're doing. Historically, when you start talking to them, they'll go, well, hey, Marguerite, by the way, how's the real estate market, right? And that's a great opportunity to talk to them about what is going on in your particular market and what's happening in your area. So it doesn't have to be that cheesy call, hey, this is Marguerite, I'm calling to see if you want to buy or sell a home, right? Like none of us are comfortable making that call. It's why we don't make them. So pick up the phone and just call and talk to people and reach out to them. Start with people that love you. Start by calling your mom or your friends or people that are going to be kind to you. And I promise you, if you sit down today, I promise, you sit down today and you literally make 20 outbound calls a day. Maybe 20 is too much for you. Maybe it's 10, maybe it's 5. But if you truly sit down and make those calls every single day for the next 30 days or 20 business days, I promise you there is no way you won't have business. There's no way you won't have people that are willing to work with you right now. So what are just a few tips that you think you could use? I would love to hear from you. I'd love to get your feedback and tell me what it is. So let me wrap this up by seeing what are just a few more things you can do. We talked about client events. We talked about birthday cards. We talked about all these different things. I'll tell you one little tip I heard from my good friend Rick Jiha, who I think is talking on this panel today. He said recently, in his neighborhood, he drove through the farm area and saw all those signs that people are putting up that talk about who just graduated and things like that. He put together a little gift card and a little package and he dropped it on the doorstep for the graduates. How amazing is that? What are some special touches that you can do on a regular basis? It could be, you guys all have the beauty of Facebook now and social media. If people are having a baby or their son is graduating or their daughter is finishing up her PhD or any of these things, these are a great resource to send out a handwritten note, send out a $5 or $10 gift card, whatever is in your budget right now. But make sure that you are connecting with these people and you are talking to them on a regular basis. So when I said in the beginning, Linda Buckmaster was my favorite person on the planet, she has continued to this day, refers me people. We're talking 23 years later. She has referred people over and over and over again to me. And that is the true value of following up, staying connected to your database, and making sure that you are continuing to reach out and talk to them. So what can you do today to start building your database? You know, there's that famous saying, right? When was the best time to plant a tree? 30 years ago. When's the next best time? Today. So if you're one of those who's had a database, you've never done anything with it, you haven't really put it together, start today. Because I promise if you do it now, the rewards will be well worth it. Thank you so much for joining us all today. This has been so much fun, and I hope you got a ton of value out of it. So back to you, Brent.
Okay, Marguerite, I loved it. You are the queen of real estate. Everybody loves you. That was solid information. Hope you guys took a lot of notes on that. Implement that in your business and watch it grow. I cannot believe how good everyone's been today. So thank you. Next speaker, AJ Mida. He was a $30 million producer at Keller Williams in North Carolina. And today, I think his business will do, about $10 billion. He's built a large organization. He's a master at real estate. He's coming to you from the Caribbean right now. So help me welcome Mr. AJ Mida. Enjoy.
Hey, thanks Brent for the awesome introduction. I'm so excited to be here today and offer some value to everybody watching. So my topic today is seller prospecting. And it's a topic that's near and dear to my heart because I moved actually to North Carolina about 9 years ago from California, Orange County, and I didn't know a soul in North Carolina. And I didn't have any way to generate business. I didn't have a sphere like some people have, friends, family. So I had to figure out how to succeed without knowing anybody. And what I discovered in my first year of real estate was seller prospecting. And I gotta be honest, my first year in real estate, I didn't have a lot of success. But once I found this new focus, seller prospecting, and I hired a coach, went to my first real estate conference, by the end of my first year, I had over 20 listings. After only selling 6 houses my first year, I ended up the year with over 20 listings. And my second year sold 36 houses, made over $150,000. So I believe that I'm an expert when it comes to seller prospecting after making thousands and thousands and thousands of phone calls. So I wrote down some notes here, and the first thing that I want to discuss with you today is just having the right mindset. When it comes to anything in life, having the right mindset, a positive mindset, a strong mindset is the key to success. And it sounds simple, but it's actually the most important part and the most difficult part to master. You see, all the information that you're learning today, all the information that I'm going to share with you around seller prospecting, right now you can go to YouTube, you can go to different podcasts, and you can seek out the information. So it's all readily available to everyone already. It's there. But what's the missing link? Why isn't every real estate agent selling, 50, 100 houses a year? Well, the missing link is having the mindset to take the information that you're learning and implementing it. A lot of different reasons, fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, sometimes just procrastination. But what I found for the most part is even procrastination is kind of rooted in the fear of failure. But more than anything, it's just like, the fear of rejection, being embarrassed if you ask for business that you're going to be rejected. So I want to teach you some things today to get you over that hump. And the first part I want to start with is mindset on how it relates to seller prospecting. So the first thing that I want you to understand is that it's going to be hard at first. Anything that you try for the first time is going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. I like to think of babies, so get this in your mind. Imagine a baby, is trying to walk and he keeps falling, so then he's crawling. And what if he just gave up? Wouldn't we live in such a funny world if everyone was crawling around on their hands and knees because they gave up the first time something was hard? Well, guys, that's what it's like for your real estate business if you don't learn this habit of prospecting. It's like your business is always just crawling on its hands and knees, never getting up, never running, and never truly thriving. So I just want you to understand right now that it's going to be hard, but if you put in the effort, you'll get good at it, and you'll get good at it fast, and it will be worth it. I can promise you that. So the second point here I have here is think long-term, but act short-term. And what I mean by that, thinking long-term. So when you first get into real estate, or if you first start building out a new sales pipeline, it's going to be more of a long-term strategy. Of course, today, if you implemented what I'm going to teach you, you could set appointments today. But just know that most of the appointments come from the follow-up, the fortunes in the follow-up. So as you're building the pipeline, you may not be getting the results that you'd like to get as fast as you maybe hoped. And that's okay. So think long-term, know that you're building out this pipeline to serve you for the rest of your sales career, but act short-term, meaning you still need to have a sense of urgency. You still need to be closing 4 appointments today. You still need to be trying to get out on listing appointments this week. So think long-term, give yourself permission to, learn and to get better and to build the sales funnel, but really act with that sense of urgency. Act as if you'll have success today. Because when you do that, you're going to shorten all the time frames and you're going to start closing deals sooner than later. Next point that I have here is just be patient along the process. You guys, this is not a sprint, it's a journey. I think that, or a sprint versus a marathon. I think that you should run as fast as you possibly can while running a marathon, right? Without killing yourself. So think with that mindset. No, it's a marathon, but no, you got to run this marathon as fast as you can because I want you to be successful, and I know you want this too, as fast as you possibly can with seller prospecting. So some other things to remind you of, know that you're going to get good fast. You're going to get really good at prospecting fast if you focus. Well, what do you focus on? You focus on learning the scripts. You focus on, being intentional with your phone calls. You focus on the activity that you're doing at the time that you're doing it, rather than, being, prospecting, making your calls while you're on Facebook. Focus, focus, focus. And then this overall mindset that I want to share with you is just, it's not if, it's when. When you have this mindset with anything in life, it just becomes like this faith-like attitude that no matter what, you're going to be successful. So just know it's not if, it's when. When you practice your skills, when you take action, you're going to have success. It's not if you'll have success, it's when you'll have success, when you're following people who have succeeded before you. I promise you that. All right. So let's talk about the three types of business. So we got sellers, we got buyers, and we got sphere and past clients. I break down business into those three categories. So the first one, you go get it. So you go get it is your seller business. That's what I'm going to teach you, how to go out and hunt and get the seller business. Buyer business is kind of like you pay for it, you sit back and you wait for the leads to come to you. That might be Zillow, that might be pay-per-click. We're not talking about that today. If you're an individual agent, I don't recommend that you actually use those strategies unless you have a team. The third part, residual, that's your sphere and past clients. I love to think of it in terms of a residual mindset because when you do a good job for your clients, your friends, family, they refer you business forever. It becomes a residual like income. Very cool. So listings. So we have a few different approaches we can take. We have expireds, FSBOs, just listed, just solds. We have farming that you can do. There's a buyer listing script that I coach on. But the biggest ones that I want to focus on today are expireds and for sale by owners. So how can you get started with expireds and for sale by owners? Well, the first step is going to be practicing. So time block 1 hour a day to practice your scripts. As simple as that. 1 hour a day to practice your scripts. And then once you're doing that, don't wait until you're perfect at them. Don't wait until you're even close to being comfortable with your scripts. If you wait that long, you waited too long. You got to practice. You got to take action. Practice action. This can happen day one. Practice for an hour, then immediately get on the phones and start making your calls. So start calling. Do not wait till you're perfect. Next point here, get a role play partner. This can be an accountability partner as well, but you should have 2 or 3 role play partners that you're speaking to, that you're role playing with before you get on the phones every single day. It's just like, an athlete, they're gonna warm up before the game, right? Just like with real estate, you should warm up before you start calling your prospects. So I want you to start with the main expired script. I like expired listings. You can start with for sale by owners, but I just found that expireds are great because of a couple of reasons. I would put expireds and for sale by owners both in that category of they've already raised their hand, identified themselves as needing to sell. Number 2, they're the fastest way to a closing. And number 3, they're the cheapest way to a closing. That's undeniable. But expireds are even a tad bit better than for sale by owners just because they've raised their hand saying, yes, I need to sell my house. But also they said, I want to hire an agent. Because they've already hired an agent, we know that they're willing to work with us as agents, right? Whereas a for sale by owner, their goal is to sell their house without an agent. An expired just wants to sell their house. We do know that most for sale by owners end up listing with an agent anyways, so it's still a great source of business, but I like expireds a little bit better for that reason. And it's really cool to start with old expireds, because if you're new to calling expireds, the first day they hit the market, you're going to have a lot of competition. So start with the old ones. Their calls are very easy, non-confrontational. You don't need a very developed skill set yet. It's a very simple call, and it's a great way to build your sales pipeline, what I call your nurture farm. Your goal is to take these expireds, for sale by owners, just listed, just solds, identify them as someone who, when they sell, will interview you. You do that with a script, and then you add them to your nurture farm. And then you start getting all these closings from your sales pipeline, your nurture farm. So read the scripts verbatim. Don't try to wing it. Have it right in front of you and literally read it. At first, it's going to feel extremely uncomfortable, you're gonna feel like a robot because you've never done it before, but that's okay. As soon as you start to learn it, you'll start to internalize it and it'll become your own eventually. But always have it on the wall in front of you and read it. If you get lost in a conversation with somebody, you can come right back to it. And remember, on the phone, tonality is so important. You want to use upswings, downswings. You want to, be confident, energetic, because tonality is going to be 86% of your communication while on the phone because they can't see body language. And then the only 14% is going to be words. So even tonality is more important. So make sure you're in a peak state when you start calling. So you really only have 5 main objections when it comes to expireds, and the same thing with for sale by owners. So the main objections for expired specifically are staying with the same agent, not selling it selling it myself for sale by owner, not selling anymore, need to speak with my spouse first, and found another agent. So once you master these objection handlers and you have the scripts on your walls, you're going to be a pro. It's funny, sellers, it seems like, got together and practiced their scripts of what to say back to us when we call them, and their script never changes. It's always the same. It's always the same handful of objections that they're going to give you. So master handling those. It's funny when you think about it. Professional athletes are going to practice, but us as real estate agents, we never really practice. Or an actor or an actress, they learn their script, they memorize it, but we just try to wing it. Stop doing that. That's not good. So the nurture script, just want to give you that real quick. So most calls that you do are not going to end in an appointment until you're doing your follow-up, fortunes in the follow-up. So while you're on the phone, when it's clear that you're not going to get the appointment, you're simply going to say, hey, it was great speaking with you today. I got to run, but just out of curiosity, when you do go to sell your house next spring, do you have an agent that you're committed to, or would you be open to interviewing me? If they don't have an agent, like their neighbor, their brother-in-law, or whatever, and they're open to interviewing you, it becomes a nurture. So you want to use that as a criteria before you add them to your follow-up campaign, your nurture farm. So the second part is go ahead and get their email. So then you can say, awesome, great, I look forward to interviewing for the job when the time's right. By the way, is it okay if I send you some information? They're going to say yes. So the second part is, awesome, what's your best email? They've already committed to you sending them some info. When you follow up with the email, they're going to say yes again. That's crucial that you set it up in a 2-part way versus just coming out and saying, what's your best email? Because it's just like you go to Home Depot, they want your social security number, your birth date, your phone number, your email. We're being conditioned really from the way we shop that we don't want to give out a lot of information. So most people are going to give you the reflex no if you just come out and ask them for their email. So use that. That is the ninja script. I love it, and you will build your database, your nurture farm to amazing levels once you do it. And guys, just think about it. Every day your goal should be to get 5 nurtures and 1 appointment. If you prospect 3 hours a day, you should get 5 nurtures and 1 appointment. So what's cool about that is 5 nurtures a day, 5 days a week is 25 times 4 weeks in a month. That's 100 nurtures times 12 months. That's 1,200 nurtures in 1 year that you could develop into your nurture farm. This is 1,200 people who have said, yes, when we go to sell our home, we will interview you. Do you think you will be doing a lot more business than you are today if you had 1,200 people who said they would interview you? The answer is yes. And this is how I became a top agent in my market without knowing anybody in a matter of a couple years. And lastly, guys, just want to leave you with some homework. Like I said, some actionable advice, how you can take this and how you can use it today, tomorrow, next week. So first thing, get a data provider like Redx. You want a data provider and a dialer system. Do not waste time trying to find the data yourself. It's a waste of time. It's not an income-producing activity, so don't do it. Get a dialer because you're more efficient. If you're not using a dialer and you're only making 2 contacts per hour, I'm making 12, who's going to win? It's not even a close comparison, guys. You need to be using a data provider and a dialer. Step 2, learn the scripts. Print off all the scripts that you're going to be using, put them on the wall, have a script book, learn them, use them. And then, guys, just start calling and have a great lead follow-up system. So that's my advice for you guys today. Hopefully you got some nuggets that you can use. All right, guys. So Brent, back to you. Again, thanks for having me. And I know there's a lot of other great speakers coming right after me. So you guys stay tuned for them. All right, we'll see you. Thanks, Brent.
AJ, cool house. Great information, spot on as always, relevant. Thank you, AJ. Love you. And Abby, say hi to Abby out there. And know you guys are expecting your first baby. So cool. Thank you for making time to help us today. So our next speaker is Rosie Rodriguez. Now, what's so cool about Rosie? I've only known her a few years, but Rosie's owned mortgage companies, title companies, real estate franchises, Keller Williams. She has done it all. She became an orphan at 14. And if her parents were around today, Rosie, you would make them cry. They'd be so proud of you. And you are a leader of leaders. I'm proud to call you my friend, and I cannot wait to hear you share. Help me welcome to this virtual stage, Miss Rosie Rodriguez from Southern California.
Hey everybody, hey Brent. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. talking about leadership and scaling up. One of the first things that came to mind when we said that, and we talked about it, was how is it that some of these incredible people that I get to work with, how am I able to come in any kind of position of leadership or influence over them? And I think that the number one thing that is essential from a leader is that you have to have a desire to serve. You have to have a desire to contribute to the individuals that you're wanting to influence. It has to be from a very genuine and authentic place, where you're looking at the things that they're working on, their hopes, their dreams, their aspirations, and you're more excited about what is possible than maybe even they are, because you see them bigger, you see the potential. You're looking at the future of what they're going to create, or what you guys are going to create together. And so I think the number one thing is you got to want to serve, and then the number two is that you got to be their biggest fan. And I say that because I've had some really amazing people that I feel have been part of my career growth, and one of the things that stands out is that amazing feeling of knowing that someone is diehard committed to seeing you succeed, and it's not often that people like that come along into your life, and when they do, you remember them. You remember who they are, you remember the contribution that they made to your life. And so as a leader, you've got to want to be there, and you've got to want to serve, and then you've got to be their biggest fan. I mean, I will tell you some of the amazing people that I get to work with. You've got your David Golden, you've got Leo Robles, he's on the panel too, and Mike Bjorkman, just these amazing individuals that I have the opportunity of working with. And I'll tell you that, when I see them, I have like little stars in my eyes, because I think they're so incredibly talented and amazing in their own strengths and in their own way. But I think that they know that I come from a very authentic place with them, that when we talk and we laugh and we plan and we strategize and we brainstorm, that all of this is coming from a place of like, wow, for me, wow, this person is so incredible. They're so amazing. And it's about having a conversation about those strengths. It's about them. I have this question, Rosie, how do you manage to work with some of these powerful fellas? And I said, it's because I am their biggest fan, and it is not about me winning. It's about how they're going to win. I'm not pulling that wagon. I'm not, trying to like get them to do what I want them to do because I'm going to win. I'm behind them, and I'm encouraging them, and I'm supporting them, and I'm like, where are you going? And like, boom, it's just it's a contribution. It's an energy. And that's something else. When you're leading someone from a place of self-enrichment, that's only going to work for so long. Either as long as they're getting that healthy paycheck from you, and that next opportunity doesn't come along, or the relationship will sever at some point, because it's coming from a place of self-enrichment. You can't lead someone from that standpoint, because you have no influence over them, because it comes through. It's not authentic. It's about, what are you going to do for me? The twist in that, the change in that is, now you're pulling. Can you get this out? Can you do this? Can you do that? It's not a flow energy. It's not a moving forward. It's not, you're not on rocket fuel. Now, when you're talking to someone about, hey, what are we going to do here that you're working on? What is it that you're aspiring to? And then let's move in that direction. And again, you're encouraging and you're supporting. That's rocket fuel. And the reason is because now you've got a combined energy, powerful energy that's moving, the whole team forward. So yeah, I mean, that's what I can say. And then about scaling up, one is just, I don't like to do things twice. So every time I look at something, I'm thinking, okay, how did I manage to do this? And then how can I systemize this so that everybody can benefit from this system, and they can implement it when they grow. And that's what you got to know, that when you want to lead someone, you have to want them to grow. You can't be afraid of training them up. You can't be afraid of sharing your secrets. You can't be afraid of, they're gonna learn more, they're gonna know more, because that's not gonna help you move forward. If there's a bottleneck in your organization, it's probably because sometimes it's because maybe that department or that individual has kind of reached capacity. So then you, as a leader, it's up to you to recognize that and say, okay, how can I help move this person, help them, help elevate them so that they can kind of delegate, and so your whole organization can move forward. And so think about things that you do and how you can duplicate yourself. And then as you're looking at your organization, look at the departments and look at the functions and try to isolate like the systems or the processes that are necessary to accomplish those goals, and then help people move from that position into a higher position of leadership. And this is how you grow from the bottom up. So I hope that was helpful. Thank you again. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And, I admire you and I support you. And thank you for being a leader in my life.
Rosie, loved it. That's, your name says it all. You put a smile on everyone's face. Beautiful information. Thank you for making such a difference. Great, solid information. Okay, next speaker. We're going to keep going. We got to get going here. Tina Caul. Now, Tina is from the East Coast. Her team sells a few hundred homes a year. She does 100 herself. I've met, I don't know if I could count the agents on one hand that sell 100 homes a year themselves, like personally sell 100 homes. She does. She's going to talk to you about listings, about listing presentation, and how to actually get that listing. So take good notes, because a lot of you are going to show up on listings and not know what to say, but that's all changing now. So listen up, take notes, and she's going to blow your mind. Tina Caul, let them have it, from, I believe, North Carolina. Forgive me, Tina, if I got that wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's North Carolina. Welcome to the big show. Take it away.
Thank you, Brent, and thank you so much for having me on your show today. I'm going to talk about listing presentations. I am passionate about listing presentations because they changed the way that I did business. They changed my success trajectory in my business. So I want to let anybody watching today know that it is okay to become a better presenter and have a canned listing presentation. I was one of these people that never, ever, ever thought I would use a canned listing presentation, because I thought I was just great with people. I could talk to anybody. I could walk into a room, walk up to a person and talk to them. So why would I want a canned listing presentation? Back in 2007, I was introduced to an organization that had thousands of agents that were making millions of dollars per year using canned presentations. So I decided to look into it because at the time, my highest income year was $150,000 in commissioned income. When I decided to adapt to a canned listing presentation, and I role played that presentation with 5 different partners, 5 days a week for 2 years, learning how to assess personality styles, learning how to present in front of a driver, an analytical, an expressive. I think that it took the income and the skill level up. So the income went up to $1.5 million. So from $150,000 to $1.5 million. Why? Because I had a canned presentation. So what changed? Well, I think for me, if you develop a really good presentation and you're in front of a customer, the natural ending to a great presentation is asking for a signature. And if they feel that you're confident, if they feel that you know what you're saying and you know what you're doing, it just works. It works like magic. So I loved having a canned presentation. So where do you start, you may ask? Well, how do I start using a canned presentation when I've been doing it this way for 10, 20 years? When I started, I was 7, 8 years in the business. So I had my own presentation. And so I would say to you, I mean, if anybody's interested, I'm more than happy to send them mine, but in any coaching organization, there is some sort of canned presentation. So look and research and find one that feels like you, but I think it's hard to read words on a paper and say, gosh, that sounds like me. So I would say watch somebody perform it. I know I've done my presentation now for several, different groups around my area and nationally. So if you watch it and go, wow, that sounds like something I could do, well, that's words on a paper that I have perfected and made my own. So to memorize it, I think that you have to work on it daily. I've written out my presentation probably in 10 years, maybe 500 times. I mean, I literally have written out the 3 or 4 pages of presentation to make sure that I get it, to make sure that I internalize it. And the reason it's important to internalize it is that you need to understand, why are you asking these questions? Why are you creating doubt in the mind of the prospect, so they know that, gosh, without you, there could be an issue. So they're either with you or without you. And they need to feel walking away from that presentation that there's going to be issues if they don't join you. I always tell agents, imagine that you were being asked to be in a film, right? In a movie, and you were handed a script, and your producer said, hey, I'm going to pay you $1.5 million, but make sure you understand the script, make sure you internalize it, make sure you dissect what the character is feeling. And at the end of it, if you're really good, we're going to pay you $1.5 million. That is exactly how real estate is today. You are presenting, you are performing, you need to get your head on straight. You need to dig deep. If you're an analytical and you're very low on emotion, you can practice having more energy and enthusiasm, right? All of it can be faked to make sure that you're doing the appropriate job, to ensure that you have more versatility when you're in front of different groups of people. So I believe that agents walking into conversations that are going to cost them thousands of dollars, sometimes upwards of $40,000, $50,000, why wouldn't they have more of that presentation skill honed in? So the third is to make it your own. Once it's internalized and it's your own, nobody can stop you because the words on the page feel like you. So first step is to memorize it, then internalize it, and once it's internalized, it can be yours. So we're going to go over some of the attributes that I believe a good presenter needs. Now, there's physical, mental, and skills. That's how I break it down. So the physical is, and obviously we're just getting through COVID, so nobody wants to shake hands anymore, but I believe that a firm handshake when you first meet the sellers is so important. I can't tell you how many people I've met and you get that really loosey-goosey handshake and it's almost icky. It feels icky from a man or a woman. It's like, get in there and shake hands and have a firm handshake. Be willing to look people in the eye. Have you ever had that person where you're sitting at an appointment and they're looking away the whole time? It doesn't give you a sense of confidence. It makes people uncomfortable sometimes. So if it makes you uncomfortable to look somebody in the eye, just practice it. I promise you that it is much more professional and exudes that confidence. A big smile on your face. When you're talking to a seller and you say, what's your commission? Well, it's 6%. Any other questions? Will you cut your commission? No. Any other questions? Just smile and act happy about it and have some enthusiasm. Having a professional appearance. I don't know where you live and where you're watching. I know there are areas of the world where people can sell homes in flip-flops and Hawaiian t-shirts, but look professional, especially if you're new in the business. Buy a suit. Women, wear a suit. Look confident. There's nothing more commanding of respect when you walk in and you look like a professional. So I have my suit, I call it my uniform, and when I put it on, I kind of, convert my thinking into, here comes, this powerful woman, this amazing real estate agent that's going to take a listing today. So have your power outfit and look sharp. And then stand tall and sit up in confidence. Don't slouch when you're sitting at the table. Really have a confident demeanor when you're sitting there with the sellers. So mental. On the mental side, I think you have to maintain a really positive energy and attitude to be a great presenter. You can't come in there and be a Debbie Downer. Nobody wants to speak to a Debbie Downer. So you have to have enthusiasm. Now, can you deliver bad news? Can you tell them that the price that they want is probably not what they're going to get? Yes, but you can deliver it in a way where you still can be positive. Be confident but not arrogant. So nobody likes an arrogant person telling them that they're the best and they sold this many homes. They don't care. They want you to sell their home. So be confident, just not arrogant. Be mentally well rehearsed. If you know your script and you know what you're going to say because you've practiced it 1,000 times before you get to the door, you're just going to win. You're going to win more than you lose. Being honest and truthful with people. So being a great presenter means that you can deliver that bad news in an honest and truthful way and not be attached to the outcome. I don't want a listing I can't sell. I'm not going to take a listing just to take a listing. So you have to be able to walk away and have that honest and truthful behavior. Be willing to leave your ego at the door. And for me, not having an ego is learning a presentation. I mean, nobody likes to feel stupid, to look stupid, to practice in front of people. I remember when I first got my presentation, I would hide at home and I would read it out loud in my room back and forth. And then I just thought, well, this is ridiculous. I'm gonna practice with my peers. So I sat, 2 people down in my office, 2 other agents. I said, let's practice this. And as I practiced it, I sounded less and less and less robotic. So you have to be willing to be vulnerable and feel stupid at times when you're presenting or learning to be a good presenter. I think that in the skills department, you always have to stay in control and ask questions. And that is what my presentation does for me. When I am asking questions, I'm in control of the conversation. So I think we've all met that realtor that just won't stop talking, right? And it's verbal vomit and they just don't get anywhere. So I think you have to be in control by asking questions. That is a skill. Don't be afraid to ask the tough questions. I mean, how many times will a seller just have these delusions about, what they're going to get for their home, or a buyer has these delusions about the type of home they're going to get? Asking those tough questions, I think, is really, really important. Being fluid and smooth and working out the rough edges. So if you've got a presentation, you've got to present it over and over and over again. Record yourself. That was huge for me, recording myself, recording my voice. I used to say a lot. I don't know if I'm saying it now, but I used to say it all the time. And I realized that it was because I was thinking about what to say next. So when you record yourself, grab a glass of wine because you're going to need it. There are so many weird things we do when we talk, but if you learn to understand what you're saying and how you're presenting, you can correct those. See, I just said again. Here we go. I gotta stop now. I'm gonna get on an roll. Be committed to the presentation and doing the right thing for the customer. So that is part of my presentation, is always ending with the truth, always telling them what I feel the home should be sold at, whether they like it or not, and then being able to handle their questions confidently. Once you do this over and over and over again, you're going to see that your confidence builds. So if you're a brand new agent, the first thing I would say to do is to go learn a listing presentation, because that's going to get you prospecting more. That's going to get you on the phones calling for sale by owners. The minute you get an appointment with a for sale by owner, an expired listing, or a friend of the family or whoever, then you're going to freak out because you're not going to know what to say. And if you don't have a good presentation, you're not going to feel confident. So if you learn your presentation and it's the first thing you master, you will feel so confident. You'll walk into any room and be able to light it up and get that contract signed. So my name is Tina Caul. Thank you so much for watching. If anybody wants a copy of my presentation, feel free to reach out to us at Caul Group on Instagram, or you can find me anywhere on the web. Brent, thank you so much for inviting me here today, and I can't wait to listen to the next presenter. Thanks again.
Okay, my mind's blown. I don't know about yours. So good. So good. I hope you guys are getting every bit of this. So, Tina, thank you. Phenomenal. Okay, next speaker. We're on the home stretch. Tom Daves. What can I say about Tom Daves? Well, he owned Remax franchises here in Sacramento going back 25 years ago. He's another pillar in the Sacramento real estate community, but he was also a pillar at Keller Williams because he was the #1 agent for Keller Williams worldwide, not once, not twice, but 7 different times in like the past 17 years. And so we're talking #1 worldwide of like 140, 150,000 agents, and you outproduce every single one of them. You might want to sit up in your seat a little bit on this one. He's going to talk about your daily routine, because in the end, your habits, your routine is what's going to help you succeed in real estate, not these little flares and these little sparks. You got to be a machine. You got to have a routine. Tom, take it away.
All right, hey, thanks, Brent. I appreciate that warm introduction. So today, I'm going to talk a little bit about success is found in your daily routine. And to be honest with you, it hasn't always been that way for me. In fact, when I first started in real estate, I was pretty much kind of all over the map. But I was lucky enough to have a mentor that took me under his wing. And remember, this was over 35 years ago. And we went to the very first PMA conference seminar, Positive Mental Attitude. And I was able to see Zig Ziglar, Earl Nightingale, William Clement Stone, and Tom Hopkins, as well as Art Linkletter. So I heard all of these, and they were talking about positive mental mindset, PMA. And there were really 3 things that I learned that changed my life, changed my world. The first thing was it's all about mindset. Think big, go big, be growth-minded, positive mindset. The second thing is your success is determined by how you spend your time. Any successful person in life or in business, or even a successful sports figure, is extremely disciplined with how they spend their time. And I love this quote, you get what you repeat. And a lot of times success is boring because it's doing the right thing over and over consistently. And then number 3, the third thing I learned is success is also who you spend your time with. Jim Rohn says you're the sum total of the 5 people that you spend most of your time with. So after I went to that seminar, it changed my life. And that was when I really started creating my daily schedule. And so basically my schedule is this, and it's been this way for years. I get up in the morning. I'm an early riser. I usually get up at about 4:30 in the morning, and I drink 20 ounces of water, read the Bible, I pray, I journal, and just really have some time. I don't turn on the phone at all for at least the first hour. And then I work out and really get my blood going and get things started. And that really starts my day off right. And then from there, I spend a little time with the family. And then now that we're working out of home, I start working. We have a huddle, early morning huddle. In fact, I can kind of show you my schedule right here. Okay, here it is. Get up in the morning, read the Bible, pray, spend some family time, have a huddle. And then we do some lead generation, and you can see green is lead generation. Green is money, right? And then from there, have some lunch, and then, dealing with business, have to have some time with dealing with business. I usually go on 1 or 2 listing appointments in the afternoon, and then home, 5:30 or so, have dinner, and then again, plan the day, plan the next day. And part of that planning of the day is called Win the Day. I don't know if any of you have heard of Andy Frisella, the MF CEO. I would definitely check him out and check it out. Don't have any kids around. He definitely drops the F-bomb once in a while. But one of the things that Andy recommends is to win the day. in order to win the year and have a great year and hit your goals, you have to win the month. And then in order to win the month, you have to win the day. So for example, to win the day for me is I've got 5 things on here: read the Bible, pray, and journal, work out, stick to a diet, no cheating, and drink a gallon of water, 2 hours of lead generation each day at least, and then 1 social media post where you're teaching others or you're serving others or you're sharing others. And then I always put a quote at the bottom of this, and I love this one by James Lawrence. He's the Iron Cowboy. Where is he? Here he is, right here. James Lawrence, the Iron Cowboy. He says, the hardest part is getting started. So that's kind of my routine. That's the foundation of the day. And I just love this quote by Jim Rohn. He says, success is neither magical nor mysterious. Success is the natural consequence of consistently applying basic fundamentals every single day. Because let's face it, people are always looking for the easy way. They're looking for, some hack. They're looking for some trick or some magic bullet, but there's really, really no overnight success. Your success is the foundation of your business is based on your schedule. And I'd like to talk just a little bit about schedule. You think about your time. Time is the most valuable thing that you possess. In real estate, I like the Pareto principle. There's 20% of your activities that will give you 80% of your results. So our job description really in real estate, the dollar producing activity, those things that are going to be green on your calendar and green in your bank account, right, are going to be lead generation, lead follow-up, appointments, writing contracts, and then training and role play, right? So anything outside of that should really be delegated to someone else. And I love the quote, if it's not in your schedule, it doesn't exist. And I also love the quote that, you know what, I'm not really in the business to sell real estate. I'm in the business, my job description is to follow my schedule. And if you can just follow your schedule, then you're going to have massive, massive success. Another good question to ask yourself is, does your schedule support your goals? We all have big goals, and what we have to identify is, does your schedule support your goals? Another great question to ask yourself is, what's your biggest distraction? I think, for myself, to be honest with you, it's email and social media. I mean, it's a huge distraction. We need to create a bunker that protects us while we're doing the dollar producing activities and while we're lead generating. And the best thing about having a schedule and sticking to it is it creates predictivity. It creates predictability. It also reduces your stress. It also reduces procrastination, as well as it stops overpromising and under-delivering. And then also it creates motivation. So let's have a little fun. Go ahead and ask yourself, what management style are you? Who are you? Are you the fire controller? Are you always putting out fires? Are you a fire controller? The second is, are you too much? Do you put too much on your plate? The third is, are you laid back? Are you laid back? Are you the procrastinator? I'll get to it later. Or are you the chatterbox? Do you have long conversations that go on and on and on, and you never get everything done? Are you the perfectionist? Everything has to be perfect, And are you getting ready to get started? And then number 6, are you the general? Are you the leader in managing time? Not too long on the phone, don't talk too much, and are you staying focused? So ask yourself also another question: how much do you earn per hour? And how much is your time worth per hour? So these are great questions to ask yourself, amazing things to think about. I love the saying, you're not great until you're consistent. Because really, you think about consistency trumps everything. Be the first one to show up, the last one to leave. You think about some of our most successful sports athletes, Jerry Rice, he was the first one to get there, the last guy to leave. Kobe Bryant, Tom Brady, Joe Montana, right? So these guys put in the work and they were extremely successful. So the key is to be consistent, win the day. If you win the day, you're going to win the month, then you're going to win the year. You're going to create momentum. And back to those 3 keys of success that I heard a long time ago from those key speakers. Number 1 is your mindset. Constantly think and have positive mindset. Watch podcasts, read books, and create that positive mental attitude. And then number 2 is it's how we spend our time. Take massive action. And then number 3 is who we spend our time with, and hang out with winners, be with winners. And if you want to be unstoppable, the key is in your daily routine. Your key is in your daily routine. So I hope that helps. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you so much. It was great being here. And back to you, Brent.
Tom, awesome. Loved it. I have watched you at your office make those calls, just doing your thing, man, your routine, call after call after call. I've stood there just going, no wonder he's a machine. I see you do the 75 hard and posting stuff, working out. I mean, he lives this, guys. He walks the walk, talks the walk, walks the talk, all that. Thank you, Tom. Solid stuff. I'm inspired. I know everybody else is. Okay, it's that time. Final speaker, drum roll. I have Leo Robles from Southern California. He's like Tony Robbins Jr. He's a huge Tony Robbins fan. He built a huge business selling, tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars every year. Today, his business will probably do well over $1 billion, maybe $1.5 billion. And so I want him to share with you about mindset and emotional intelligence. And it's right out of the Tony Robbins handbook because he's a huge Tony Robbins fan. And I absolutely love this, man. Leo, crush it. Take it away. Let us have it.
Thank you so much, Brent. Man, I'm super excited to be here today, man. It's an honor. And thank you so much for having me. And thank you for having me on the segment about mindset and emotional intelligence. I think that these are the 2 attributes that are going to be the most beneficial for your life, period. Whether it be, you want to apply this to your business or, to everything, right? Because we're talking about business today. So mindset is going to play a huge part of your life. And I want to break down mindset because it's not something that, it's not positive thinking. I think a lot of people think that mindset is like just about positive thinking all the time. And it's not. We're going to go through ups and downs in life. And it's really about you having the settings. It's a mindset, like mind settings. And you want to actually calibrate what those settings are, because what's going to happen in your life is that you're going to go through ups and downs. And I'll share with you my story briefly just so you can get a little context. I mean, I've been doing business for 15 years, real estate sales. I've done over 1,400 sales in my career. So if you look at me, you talk to me, you're like, oh my God, this guy, had a, super, awesome business acumen, and he just, figured everything out. And the fact of the matter is that I failed massively to get to where I am. I started off at 18 years old. fresh out of high school, went straight into real estate. It was 2006. Right out the gate, made almost $120,000 because I sold like 8 houses. Price points are pretty high. And all you needed to do at the time was literally have a heartbeat and you qualified. So that worked, right out the gate, made, the money that I made. And then I went and buy the success package. And then I said, well, I'm going to go get the Mercedes-Benz. I'm going to go ahead and, get all the suits. So once I got all that, the next thing that I did is that I wanted to become a real estate investor, right? And obviously 2006 leading to 2007 was not the right time to buy. But unfortunately, the people around me were like, hey, you should buy a property. So what I did is I bought this property, almost $500,000. And 6 months later, all my money goes to this house. 6 months later, the market tanks. And the first thing that went was my car. I literally had my car repossessed out of my driveway. I had my house foreclosed. I just literally walked away. I didn't have any sort of knowledge. I could have short sold, done all these other things now that I know, but I didn't know at the time. And I moved back in with my dad. My dad had a construction company that went from having 30 crews down to 3 people overnight. He also owned a house that I moved into, and he got kicked out of his house. He lost it. And then we went to a rental property. When we went to that rental property, again, that person was in foreclosure, lost his house 3 months later. And that kind of thing happened to us 6 times in 1 year. We got kicked out of 6 houses in 1 year and 2 months. So I had to pick up this heavy furniture over and over and over from house to house to house. And you better believe I was all about mindset because, I read a book, really early on. Before I even started, I read this book called Unlimited Power with Tony Robbins. So I had read this book at 16. So it changed my life. So I learned about, mindset and writing things out. So when I failed, guess what? I said, this stuff doesn't work. I went into it. I did everything. I thought positively and I lost everything. And I dreaded life for a whole year. I got knocked out of the business for a good solid year. And I remember that I didn't even have the courage to keep going anymore. I didn't want to wake up in the morning. I was getting out of shape. I didn't go to the gym anymore. I was like depressed all the time. I didn't want to do anything. The lowest point was like I was getting my cell phone disconnected, every single month and having to ask for extensions. And I remember just hating life. I got to the point, it was like a year and 2 months later, I was just at a massive pity party. And I finally reached a breaking point. I finally got sick and tired of being sick and tired. And then my brother was actually the one that told me, hey, just go talk to somebody at an office. And once you go do real estate, that's what you really wanted to do anyways. So I stopped by at a RE/MAX office. I joined that office. And the reason I joined it is because a gentleman that I met, his name is Harold Wasson, he inspired me like no other. He heard all my story. And then he basically said, like, look, if you do exactly what I'm going to tell you to do, you're going to be successful. And he said, and guess what? And I believe you got what it takes to make it happen. And I said, what, really? So at the time, I didn't believe in myself, but this guy believed in me. And I said, well, if you believe in me, well, I'm going to, believe you. And I just, basically did everything he told me. And under his leadership, sold over 800 properties in the next 7 years. So the reason I'm sharing with you the story is because, during the time where I lost everything, obviously it's, mindset in that moment is like, well, where is it at now, right? So going back to what I initially started with mind setting, right? What setting do you have in your mind? Well, you got to attach yourself to things that are not going to make you happy exterior of you, because this is what happened with me. When I, had the money and the car and the house, I attached all of my happiness into those things. And the moment that were taken away, I suffered for a whole year. So that's where your mind setting has to be. You really got to choose. You really got to take some time and write down, what emotions do you want to experience on a daily basis? Do you want to experience happiness, joy, gratitude, fulfillment, love, whatever the emotion is? You got to get really clear about that. Write it down, and also recognize what story you have in place that is not allowing you to experience those emotions, right? Whether it be happiness, whether it be joy, whether it be peace. If you want to experience that, and you notice that you're wanting to experience that. So identify what story is keeping you from experiencing that. Because what I found is that when I sold these 800 properties, I got to the point where I made over $1 million. I flipped over 20 properties. I had the Mercedes-Benz again. Then I bought a Panamera. I mean, I had all of it back. But I was unfulfilled. Again, I ended up not feeling happy. I thought that all the money and all the success was going to make me happy again. And guess what? I was miserable once again. I remember that year I had done 154 transactions. This was 2014. Sitting down in my car with the trophies, you know, with the little badges and the certificates because we had an award ceremony. And I remember feeling sad and upset. And I was like, I didn't understand why. And at the time, the question that I asked myself, which led to me to start to evolve emotionally, was, is this it? Right? I got to the point where, is this it? Is this what life is all about? You know, working 14, 15 hours a day. Is it all about, you know, working all of that time and not taking any breaks and not seeing my family and having an unstable relationship? And, you know, just everything in my life was out of balance. So I really, you know, looked at my life and I didn't like it, you know, so that led me to start to evolve. And I went to a Tony Robbins event. I actually went to Unlimited Power, and that led me to the journey to start to actually expand who I am. Because I'll tell you this, you could make all the money in the world, but if you attach yourself to money and success and things outside of you, you will get to the point when you get there and then you'll experience that you're still unfulfilled because your priorities are set up into something that is not inside of you. So you got to make sure that you have everything you need and you desire within you right now, because whatever you attach yourself outside of yourself, the moment that thing is not there, you're going to feel lost. So I encourage you to really, you know, and let me share with you one thing that helped me. So I did Tony Robbins. I became a platinum partner. And then after that, I discovered a seminar called Landmark Education. I did that seminar that completely changed my life. And I started to see the world in a different way. Another book that I highly recommend that made a massive impact in my life is called Letting Go by David Hawkins. That book, if you want to evolve emotionally and if you want to develop emotional intelligence, that book is going to help you beyond anything you could possibly imagine and read out there. Because for me, it's not about just thinking positive, right? What happens when things don't go your way? What happens when you get a cancellation? When you get an escrow that falls out? What happens when you get in an argument with your significant other? What happens when you get a flat tire? In all of those moments, we pivot to anger, we pivot to something else, and it takes away our peace, right? So the emotional intelligence is going to help you to get through these moments in life when things get tricky and tough. Because I'm sharing this too, because what did we just go through? We just went through a pandemic. And during this pandemic, a ton of people were like really unhappy. They were frustrated. They were upset. They didn't know what to do with their time. So what happened with me, as soon as this whole thing started to happen, I'm like, okay, this means for me, I got a lot more time to focus on what I want to do. And I can reflect and I can do more of the projects that I want to do. I'm huge in I love to meditate. I love to go outdoors. And I just love to, you know, work on projects. So I had a lot of time to work on those projects. So at any given moment in life, you're going to have the opportunity to think about and what it means to you, right? Whatever happens. So the pandemic for me meant opportunity. And it also meant this is the time to build. Because when I built my business in real estate, it was from 2008 to 2014. Those were supposedly the worst years in the business. And if you were to ask anybody else, I mean, people even like that I knew were like, hey, are you doing okay? How's the business for you? I heard real estate is bad. And I was doing the best. I was selling 100 homes on a yearly basis. But it all has to do with you and what you focus to choose, like what you choose to focus on, right? You could focus on all the stuff that's falling apart and everything that's going wrong. But you can also choose to look at everything that's going right. You can also choose to focus on what could go right and bet on yourself. Like really, you really like what this whole talk is all about is you believing in yourself and you getting that you're absolutely perfect just the way you are. You don't need anything. You don't need to like do any other thing. You got to understand that everything you desire, if you really ask yourself, you want that house, you want that success, you want the transactions, you want whatever is outside. It's all an emotion that you're after. So my recommendation and my advice is that you evolve yourself emotionally so you can understand that you have the most advanced chemical factory on the planet, which is your human body, where you can harness those emotions for yourself right now, and it doesn't cost you a dime. The moment that you can become who you want in the moment, which is right now as I'm watching, and I'm telling you, as you're watching this right now live, you can choose right now to experience happiness and peace and joy and try to figure out like, wait, when I get that $1 million, how am I gonna feel? Well, when I get that $1 million, I'm gonna be excited, I'm gonna be enthusiastic, I'm gonna be like, super nice to people, I'm gonna give back. What's stopping you from doing that right now? You can do that right now. And once you actually harness those emotions and you get to the point where you can harness and focus on those emotions in the moment, then everything else is just a cherry on top. Everything else is a cherry on top. And that's really how it should be, because the moment that you put your focus and your happiness outside of yourself, you just give away your power. So don't give away your power. You're going to give away your power to your business. You're going to give a power away to a significant other. Do not do that. You are responsible 100% for your life experience right now. It has nothing to do with anything outside of you. The government is not the problem. Anybody outside of yourself is not the problem. You're not the problem. You just have an error thought. Like you're thinking about it in a different way. And it's time for you to take a step back, look at your life and say, man, I really got it good. Because I'll tell you this, and I'll end with this. If you have the opportunity to be alive, if your heartbeat is beating right now, and you have the ability to see, and you have the ability to listen, and you got food in your stomach right now, and you got a roof, and you go to bed at night on a bed, in a warm bed, you are blessed beyond measure. Because guess what? Somebody this morning didn't have the opportunity to wake up. So I'll leave you with that. Evolve yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually. That's the best thing you could do right now, because the new movement requires for you to be emotionally intelligent. So that's what I got to say. Thank you so much, Brent, for putting this event together. I'm super inspired by all these amazing speakers, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Leo, that was amazing. I knew there was a reason I saved you for last. I knew you just knock it out of the park. Everybody loved it. I just loved it. It was so good. Honestly, all the speakers today did great. So our event is officially over. And I just want to let you know one thing. Every speaker you heard today was from EXP, and we just wanted to bring value to your life. So go back to your prospective company and go list as many homes as you can, do the social media, help your buyers, work on those listing strategies, work on your marketing plan, your goals. All the information you heard was just absolutely phenomenal. Go back, prosper, because we're a big real estate family, a community. So we want to do this for you. It wasn't about EXP, it was about you and helping you do better in life and helping your family. I do want to let you know, though, this August 26th, 27th, and 28th in Dallas, we have Tony Robbins coming to our event. James and I got him booked, and he's flying in his G4, and he's going to do our third day. It's $297 to attend this 3-day conference, including Tony Robbins. We did have some general admission tickets, over 1,000 of them, 1,400, I don't know, sold out, gone. And so we'll have thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of agents and brokers there. And Tony Robbins has been cooped up for about 4 or 5 months. So let me tell you, you hear about speakers ripping the cover off the ball. He might just eat the ball. He's going to kill it. I'm so excited. So you ought to think about getting on a plane. If you like these speakers, we got more of them for you on how to sell real estate at the highest levels. Come. $297, including Tony Robbins, the third and final day. It's a Friday, the 28th of August, starts the 26th. Get out there, take a break. We're at a 5-star resort, the Dallas Gaylord Resort. It's got golf courses and swimming, and it's all under a dome. You don't feel any humidity. It is amazing. It's like going to Disneyland. This place is incredible. So don't miss that. That's August 26th, 27th, and 28th. And by the way, if you thought, wow, this is a cool group, I like this group, if you have a friend at EXP and you want to ask more, reach out to that friend and say, tell me more about EXP. We'd love to have you join us at our company or stay at your company and prosper there. We're all in the same business. The bottom line is we want to provide for our families and do well. So I hope you found that we added value to your life today. That was our goal. Have a great day. Have a great week. Have a great year. Have a great life. And I hope to see you August 26th, 27th, 28th at our leadership event in Dallas. Don't miss it. By the way, if you want to get a ticket for that, go to brentgove.com, click on upcoming events. I'm sure we'll put a link right here too as well. And then click on the Dallas leadership event, and you can actually purchase a ticket before it sells out. This will sell out. Texas is open. We are doing this. The hotel is excited to have us. It's going to be huge. Anybody need a break? Anybody want to go swim and play? By the way, our event starts at 2 o'clock every afternoon, ends at 6, because we want you to swim, play, go play golf, hit the spa, get a massage, sleep in, go to brunch, hit the pool, get some sun, and then we start at 2. We don't stick you in the convention center at 8. We're going to take you somewhere beautiful, and you get to relax and enjoy it. We'll see you there. Thanks for being on today, everyone. See ya. We're out.